I always think to myself, what's the point in having card 238? What does that really mean? You're part of a gang, but the number itself means nothing. But having that kind of same level, it really, unless it's 500, and I think there's two
Josh,
other numbers that people gravitate.
You matter.
Listen, you just destroyed my world, Simon.
Whoa, welcome to MetaZoo Be With You, Simon's edition.
Pew, 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 pew.
I'm of course joined by two people who said I was dead last week. Josh!
I'm two people? Wait, what?
Too fat. And Louie!
Wow.
So, let the record reflect two things here. First, they did not mention Tay-Tay's new album last week.
That was number one. That one, that's on us. That one's on us.
And I want to give a big thank you to everybody who texted me who thought I had A, perhaps died, or B, perhaps fallen seriously ill. I don't know what they said last week on the podcast because I have better things to do than listen to this podcast. But I'm fine. I had to teach last week, and it's good to be back-ish.
Wow.
Teach people
we brought him back from the dead, everyone. We brought him back from the dead.
What did you idiots say last week that caused people to think I had died?
We said nothing. We wore beautiful black tie suits and had candles behind us and said we will miss him. But that's all.
Always wear black. It's
Honestly,
like you're permanently emo depressed.
I was very shocked at how many comments thought that we actually fired you, or because we told everyone you were going to not be here 2 weeks ago.
We said you were banned. We banned you very publicly.
So
it happens with me sometimes. I get banned very public. If you're going to ban me, I appreciate you banning me in public.
Yeah.
Don't just send me an email. Say it to my face. I appreciated it about you too.
On a podcast.
On a podcast. Come on the podcast and ban me like a true hero.
This is perfect. Simon's going to be here in I
want the record to reflect. If Simon looks me in the eyes and says, George, you're banned, I will actually respect both him and Sorcery even more.
Wow.
It's time for season 3.
Can we give them season 3? Well, may the Sorcery be with you, a Pokemon podcast? Is that what we're doing?
I'm in. No, Pokemon. You can't give away this last 3 Pokemon sets.
All right, let's talk about what we're talking about. We're going to do Commander Masters, and we don't know how we feel, but we'll talk about it.
I feel fine.
Not
great. Not great. Not great.
The Magic the Gathering Amazon dump. We'll talk about Cryptic's new survey for their new boxes. We're going to do an interview with Simon, who is what's his official title these days? He's like the
Grand Poobah.
Sorcerer. He's Sorcerer,
right? Yes.
Yeah.
We'll do the Lorcana lawsuit. We're going to talk about MetaZoo.
Someone's getting banned this podcast. That's
we're getting out of this lawsuit.
All right, and let's get talking about Commander Masters.
No zoo?
I already said what we're doing for the zoo. You were too busy not paying attention.
Welcome to MetaZoo Be With You.
Is it safe yet, George?
Let's go. Come on, Commander Masters.
All right. So we are filming this at midnight on Thursday.
It is not midnight.
It's close to midnight on Thursday.
It's taken us 25 minutes to start recording because of how incompetent you are at planning.
And after your little fumble, it's going to take longer there, Louis.
Yep.
It's not. I'm just going to
Today they brought some more heat.
Yes.
Yeah. They got some henge action, got some tutor action.
Pretty sure I spelled Commander wrong in the title.
You're doing great. Don't let them break you down. Just because you can't read doesn't mean
Oh my gosh,
spell.
it's 2 M's.
Is it? Good. I spelled it right.
Oh my God.
Magic content. Hashtag magic content.
So we were both pretty negative on Commander Masters today, Josh, in our videos. Has your opinion changed after the Thursday spoilers revealed?
It has not. It's better, but I needed I guess I'm holding out to see what's the last thing dropped. I still feel like there's a rabbit in the hat somewhere. If there's not, and it's just a master set and it's whatever, then I think it's fine. But my opinion stays, it's fine.
They turned it around today for me. I was very anxious heading into today. Not terrified, but I got my allocations. And I was like, oof, I'm going to have to move some boxes.
Yeah, let's talk about that first. So there's basically no cuts.
So
No butts?
I have heard that that's not entirely true
I got no cuts, which is
at all.
so
I'm hearing some people got cut, mainly on collector and commander decks.
Mhm.
I didn't get cut, but like, that's not, unless you're Lord of the Rings, that tends to be okay. I don't know. Like, I expected some cuts, to be honest, but that's all right. I'll sell it. I think they turned it around today. I think we'll have a much easier time selling this product now.
Yeah. So today, for those of you who weren't paying attention, today they
what have you been doing?
They did Smothering Tithe. Sorry, I had the wrong capture on here.
Do you think the pictures posted?
They did. They had
You missed me.
Can
you read to us what
I did not. I didn't miss you at all.
What about your Tay-Tay news?
I missed the Tay-Tay news. Honestly,
did you know
my
that
wife and I were on my wife and I were on vacation this weekend. We had a lot of driving, like way too much driving, and we listened to the new Taylor Swift album, which is just the same Taylor Swift album, right? Is that how that works?
Well, it's mostly the same, but now it's re-recorded and so that she owns the rights to it, and there's secret songs underneath it.
Which that's a baller move.
Yeah,
that would be like Mark Rosewater leaving Magic, remaking Magic, and then double backflipping Wizards of the Coast on his way out.
Not sure it's Rosewater. It'd be more like what's his face?
Garfield.
Yeah.
Well, no, I know that he's the creator. I'm
successful.
I was using a modern name that people in the podcast might know, but whatever.
George,
her tour is going to do $1 billion.
Viewers, this is all George has talked about all week. This wrecked George's life.
So I was in New York with my two besties from law school, and we were like talking about Tay-Tay, of course. And like we were like, yeah, her tour's gonna make $1 billion this year. And I was like, no way. She was right. It's gonna be $1 billion.
So that means every night she makes $13 million. Yeah. Just on her tour every night.
Yeah. And like, come on, this does not include like her album sales, her other things that she does. This is just her tour. So
what's the other things that she does?
You don't know what she does? You don't know what she does? Let me tell you, if I could invest in the Tay-Tay index fund, I'd be investing. So her tour will make as much revenue as Watsy did last year, basically.
The Taylor Swift OnlyFans would make.
Oh my God, that's not where I was going. That is not where I was going.
Do you want us to ban you again?
Maybe. If you get me banned from Tay-Tay, I'll have nothing.
That's all George wants. Taylor Swift OnlyFans.
I'm just saying, if like her merch goes for $1 bajillion, Tay-Tay gets it. Most successful tour ever, I think.
Sure. Okay, so that's the same amount of money that Magic the Gathering made last year.
I have already said this, but thank you for paying attention.
He's transitioning us back.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, because
that's wild.
This is Magic the Gathering podcast. So
does that not shock you that this one tour makes as much?
No, it doesn't shock me at all. It doesn't. I know that it has wrecked your life. It doesn't surprise me at all. She's like, what are we doing? Musician in the world. Like, everybody listens to music. Everybody.
Not everybody goes to an expensive tour.
Okay, so the cards that were spoiled today on Thursday.
That's a perfect facsimile here.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the most popular thing in an entire sphere, but the price of this popular thing is going to make it so most people can't enjoy it. It is literally.
Are you saying that the Eras tour has not been a success? Because I would disagree with that analysis.
I think he was alluding back to.
I'm saying something can be a success and still be unreachable for certain people in the community and certain fans.
Yeah, I mean, like, not everybody can afford to see the Eras tour. They're still huge fans of Tay-Tay, though, and God bless them.
But Tay-Tay goes above and beyond, and when you can't afford to see her tour, she puts you out in the parking lot for $25, sells you a Coors Light, and then you get to see the tour.
See this? This is great. Gets it. God, you guys missed it.
Watsy doesn't get it, and Tay-Tay gets it. That's what we've learned here.
I'm in.
And if Watsy got it, maybe they make $1 billion on that.
But I'm in. All right, Josh is right.
Duh.
Did you see that there were 25,000 people in the Overflow Stadium in Philadelphia?
You already told us that 2 weeks ago.
Wild. That's
before you
wild.
died and came back.
You
Louis,
guys,
what are your thoughts on this
are you guys
topic?
done talking about Taylor Swift?
I'm
not honing us back in today. So you guys talk about whatever you want.
I made an amazing connection.
Okay.
I think you
That
did great,
was
Josh.
journalistic genius.
You are a journalistic genius.
So Smothering Tides is pulled out today,
Is that
Journalistic
which
genius.
which was also in Double Masters too.
Because in my head, they're both with a K in your spelling.
The Great Henge, Le Grand Cromlech. Le Grand Cromlech. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
You're a journalist?
Legrand?
Which was
Mm.
also reprinted in Lord of the Rings.
Only as the box hopper, though, right?
Sure.
Yeah, it was only.
That
Yeah,
doesn't count.
Hey, come on.
That doesn't count.
Definitely counts.
That does not
1
count.
million. It was also in the collector boxes. So 100 million
That
percent
does not count.
It was just the surge foil in the collector box.
No,
Right.
it wasn't. It was non-foil in the
Okay.
collector boxes.
Okay.
Demonic too. I thought you were saying no. I thought you were saying that to George. You were agreeing with George on that it doesn't count as a reprint if it's in a box topper.
It doesn't. I mean, I guess yes, it is another printing of the card, so it qualifies as a reprint, but it doesn't put nearly as many into the ecosystem as being printed in as a core part of a set will.
As a mythic, I think you're wrong.
You think there's more?
I think that there's like
You think there's going to be more Lord of the Rings Great Henges than there will Commander Master Great Henges?
it's a box topper 1 in 32, right? Is there 32
Yep.
cards in that? In every single printing of the box.
So in every
draft set and collectors as
Every-
a box topper. So
Right.
every 32 boxes, one gets
you get
put in.
one.
Then it's also in the slot of which every collector box has like 6, and it's 1 of 32. I think is that true? 1 of 32.
I don't know that figure off the top of my head,
That's
but let's
a lot
just
of
for
that's a
convers-
lot of additional Great Henges. I will say though that it's a different artwork and a different name of the card, so that probably increases
Well-
the demand for it. But it certainly counts as a reprint.
Louis, I think that's just the leak that came from like France. I think it's going to
No,
be just
I'm
called.
talking about
Oh,
the Lord of the Rings.
I know.
confused.
I could see the
I'm
crossed
so
wires
confused.
happening, and I was so happy about it.
Confused. I was like,
I
what?
could see Josh ready to spike, and I was like, "Oh God, he's going
The
to
other-
understand this."
The other Great Henge says the Great Henge is just in super tiny text. It's just
I
in
know.
super little text.
I'm saying like there's an increase in demand because it's Lord of the Rings,
Okay.
but it still counts as a reprint for sure.
I don't know that. Yes, you're. That's a technically factual statement. I don't know if
Technically
it's
correct.
I don't know if that's a
you.
significant reprint like it's going to be in Commander Masters. Commander Masters, in my opinion, is going to be a significant reprinting of the card.
I love coffee. Continue.
I would love the comment section's opinion on this. Is it a significant reprint?
Well, we know what the comment section is going to be. Any chance to say Wizards Goes reprints everything? It's terrible. That's the jump on, right?
I feel like a mythic. There's a lot of mythics in this set. Like I think it's about the same. Would be my argument.
I think it's a big set. What is it? 400 some odd cards.
Yeah,
at
there's
least
a lot of mythics.
People love big sets.
this. Well, it makes sense for Commander because you only need one of everything, right?
Anyway, a great reprint in the set though. Still, Demonic Tutor, which we haven't seen
It's been a
since
while.
one of the Jumpstart.
Did it jumpstart ever?
It was in
Yeah.
Jumpstart. It was in Jumpstart 1. Have we seen it since then?
Was it in Double Masters 22 or no?
It was not
I
in
don't
the
think
most
so.
recent Double Master.
No. That was you're thinking Imperial Seal, I think, is the big.
Yeah, you're right.
I can't think about when the last Demonic Tutor seems to be pretty far away.
Like they brought some heat today.
And then the last one is Balefire Dragon. That was a big one today. Oh, and Ulamog.
I don't know anything about Balefire Dragon. Everybody was super hyped about it. Why are people super hyped about that card?
It deals damage equal to when it deals damage to a player, it deals damage to each creature that player controls. So it's like
Oh, it's
it's like a
card.
it's kind of like a board wipe for an opponent.
Has it not been reprinted in a while? It's an expensive card.
It's a very,
It's
yeah.
24 bucks, 23 bucks.
It's like a not auto include in red, but like if you're playing
It's-
dragons or
yeah.
big red things, it's an auto include. It's definitely not bad in any red deck.
Did you see the Ulamog had the spoiler was the portrait art?
Yeah.
That's a weird
I
art
love the portrait
treatment.
art ones. The one I don't like is the bird one. That's just like it's just a picture of a bird.
I like the bird.
It's like,
Shout out, what is it, Amy the Amazonian? Which for the bird one, she's like, this is just her tweet went viral today. She's like, this is just a bird. Like, I don't understand this art treatment. This is just a bird.
Like the bird. What's wrong with the bird?
It just doesn't. It seems lackluster. I'm not a huge fan of the portrait art treatment so far. It's weird.
oh, I like the portrait. I think the frame break. So I'm looking at the Smothering Tithe right now, and I think that's I assume it's the frame break because
I think so
coming out of
too.
the frame. I think that card in foil is going to be insane. So these cards look really good. I want to be negative before I go into my positive. These are all Mythic reprints. Like they're all printed at Mythic. Cards which we have previously seen at Rare upshifted in a reprint to Mythic. And that matters. I mean, Mythic is kind of like the new Rare kind of anyway, with the way that they do boxes. But that's, these are not Rare reprints, so you're not going to see a ton of them in your boxes.
Yeah, you're probably right on that.
I don't know. Like set boxes will sell well. I think the set. I'm not gonna lie. Not feeling super great at my 500 prediction.
Oh no, sir! You stand by that prediction.
Yeah,
I will say I've got a get out of jail free card here with the list. The list they need to bring some heat here with the list.
So all right. Does anybody have anything to say about the cards? Because we can get into the set box versus collector box.
I think that here's my argument for why I'm not worried yet. I'm not worried at all, actually. First, I think these cards will sell the box themselves. I think we're fine now. When's the last time they messed up a master set? It's probably like Iconic Masters. It's been a long time. That's been a long time. They don't mess up master sets. They don't mess up master sets.
I think it's
when they've had their terrible years.
Yeah,
they haven't messed up master sets.
What does it mean to be a success for a master set?
Sell boxes.
Stores being able to sell boxes. Stores not sitting on boxes.
Right. Well, yeah, I was going to say let's clarify, because if Amazon sells boxes, shouldn't count.
I think that's a fair assessment, and by those metrics, that's certainly true. If you are somebody who wants boxes to go up in value, though, that has not been the case. Master sets have basically been flat lines for the last 5 years.
If you're buying reprint sets to hold on to for long-term value, look inward, my friends.
Yeah. Oh, that's fair.
I think the cards. I think there's a lot of talk about things that are being a couple of the reprints that have come out in common are pretty good and needed cards. There's a lot of rarity shifting, and I think that's more for the draft experience. It does seem like, just looking at what we've seen, there's a big focus on the limited play experience for this, and I think they're leaning into what they did well with Baldur's Gate 2. There is like the limited play here. They changed the partner ruling for limited play just for this set.
Yeah.
They printed more things in common, so they're more mana fixing and stuff like that is more readily available. I mean, you have Soul Ring in the set, which we all knew was going to happen, but hasn't been in either Commander Legends up to this point.
I think they should have a law that Soul Ring gets printed in every set, because why not at this point?
People aren't putting in their decks anymore, George. So
I have heard that from about West Virginia.
The
West Virginia meta.
The problem with the draft is it's expensive. It's like an expensive draft. It's expensive. It's expensive to play the sealed or in draft. And I think that's one of the negatives for what is like all the Commanders draft sets have been expensive to draft. I kind of encourage people to try to do like a lot of people will buy a box. And what I kind of encourage people in my store to do is like, hey, if you're going to buy a box, let's all meet up, buy a box, and let's play box sealed. Like you open your box, you build a commander, and you play a game. That way you get some more value out of your experience, but then also like, what?
How long does that take to open the whole box and build a deck?
Oh, I mean, not that. I don't know. It depends on the person.
Yeah,
Some
I
people
would.
are done in
I
30
would,
minutes. Other people
I would struggle with. I'd
really
have so
working.
many choices. I'd build like 3 decks. I'd
Yeah.
struggle.
Is the draft here going to be like, it's not going to be like commander draft, right? Like
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's actually good. It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was really good for Baldur's Gate. It was a ton of fun.
Wildly successful for Baldur's Gate. It's lauded in at least all the local communities I've been a part of as a really great experience.
Yeah. I actually need to do it again because we haven't done it since like release weekend. I don't think it was.
And I know we're moving on, but something jumped off the page when I looked at Double Masters 2022, so the last master set and then this master set. And it feels like WotC got their wires crossed on like a couple cards, like Dockside Extortionist, which is a commander. Like it's played all over the place for a while. It was in Double Masters 2022, which felt weird, and then Pure Steel Paladin, which is a modern staple and one of the most popular decks, is in Commander Masters. Now, it
Grand Abolisher's in here too, right? Which is more of a modern card.
It probably
Really?
not modern. Yeah, that doesn't fit the meta anymore. But it just seems like, do we just like, oh yeah, this is a good card. Let's just throw it in a master set. Oh, this is a good card too. Master set.
Like I know that they're not allowed to say they look at secondary market values, but like, listen, like, of course they do, right? I'd be stunned if they didn't. I mean, they need reprint equity.
Yeah.
It's a big set. They need reprint equity. This isn't like, I feel I was never terrified, a little anxious yesterday. Now I feel much more confident.
Shout out to Niren from my Discord server, a patron who put together this Commander Masters poll chart. And I think this is a really interesting thing for us to chat about. So we've been talking about the set box being overpriced.
It's in Discord, Josh.
Yeah. We've been talking about the set box.
Oh, you know that. I have it on my phone. Go ahead.
Overpriced. But he broke down the number of rares and mythics per pack from the, what they gave us on the dialogues here. And then broke it down, average number of rare mythics, number per box, price per box. And your averages are actually incredibly good for set boxes.
That's supposed to be.
Yeah, that follows.
Yeah. So that's interesting.
I think collector boxes are gonna be wild.
It depends. Like, how does the frame break and portrait treats hit? Do people want them? And if they do,
this feels like one they didn't need to do the 4-packs for. I'll be honest. This one feels like they could have done the 12-packs.
Really?
4-packs. You better bring some value.
I think the 4-pack thing was really good for Double Masters.
I do too. There was a lot of heat on Double Masters.
Really? I think the 4-pack works better in Commander Masters than it does in everything else. Everything else you're chasing 4 ofs. Here you're chasing 1 ofs.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think anybody was opening Double Masters collector boxes to get play sets of the high-end cards.
Cowards.
You think people were opening Double Masters collector boxes to get play sets of cards from Modern?
If not, get off this podcast.
No, but when you do open them, it's in the back of your mind. Be like, well, if I pull 1 or 2 of these, and I only have to buy 2, that's why I'm buying the collector box. You do some justification before you open that $250 box. It's not just YOLO.
Do you remember what people called?
Have you met Louis?
Do you remember what people called Double Masters 2022? Other than Quad Masters, they called it Commander Masters.
Okay, go ahead. Yes. I already made the Dockside Extortionist point.
Yeah,
but the Imperial Seal point remains.
I think the 4-pack thing allows them to keep the boxes accessible to a consumer. Like at $225, you can buy a box.
I'm gonna say it. I really I don't know.
Like, what would your answer be? Like, what would a
So here's the thing: is like, I don't mind the 4-packs. I think they should always be 4-packs. Then,
like, every collector box,
every collector box should be 4-packs. Make them like, and that's what they should do. That's what they should do. They should do 4-packs of like very rare, highly sought after things, and make it a true collector experience. Like, I don't like that they go between 4 and 12. If you're going to do 4-packs, do 4-packs of rare high-end cards. We should be cut to the bone on allocation. Every card should be serialized. It should be very high-end.
Every card should be serialized.
I mean, like, it's why it's why sports works. Like, high-end packages get serialized. This isn't hard.
I'm not going to look into a camera and a microphone and say Magic should charge us more for less packs.
Why? It's a collector's item.
But they could achieve that with a properly handled print run of the existing collector item, which they've shown in the past for certain collector boxes, which continue to hold value. Like, if you manage that properly, you achieve exactly what you want.
What? Give me an example. What are you talking about?
Like, what sets am I talking about?
Yeah.
I would say Brothers War, Phyrexia, all will be one, have both held very well. Lord of the Rings is a fantastic example. It's a limited print run. Yes.
Did you take your Advil before the podcast? Because I think you have a fever. I was with you during the Brothers of War hype. We both had to eat a second ice cold chicken finger. Mm-hmm. And we're going to learn about this when Louis starts flooding it up next segment on Amazon.
No, because they went on sale once on Amazon. Like, okay, we're going to get into that because that's not a okay.
Brothers War's at 207.
Like, they could could make things highly.
I'm on Josh's side on this.
They could make
totally
things
fine
highly
price
collectible for collector packs, for collector boxes.
207 is holding up decently well.
What is our cost on that, though?
Yeah, I mean, we're not making money on 207. I agree.
That's not a problem.
You're not making money on that on TCG Player after the fees.
Yeah,
you're making money on that selling it locally, which has always been the crux of every discussion here.
You guys know how
I want less packs.
I think what George you're saying, what you're trying to get is hard. Like, I sell a lot of single pack collector packs in store. Like, a lot of people will buy one pack from a 12 pack box. That price tag at like 20, whatever it is, 23, 24, 25 bucks is a good price tag for like a pack. You don't get that if you have 4-pack boxes that are $225, and so, like, you lose out on that.
But like, if every collector pack contained something highly sought after by the collector market,
then
I think they would sell fine.
I'm of the proponent of anything with the label collector is not collectible. Like, anything limited, anything labeled like that, anything printed for that reason, it's just not collectible.
Well, sure, but if it was properly printed, it would be, right?
I guess. I think the problem is, in order to properly print, in order to make it worth the money for them to make all these different arts and do all the things, they have to print a lot of it to make the money.
We just reuse the same arts. Have you not looked at Commander Masters? 90% of it's the same art.
No, it's not. There's the special frame break foils. Yeah, there's those
two treatments are
what the collector stuff is.
The regular foils and the collector stuff are just the foils of the cards that exist, and the etched are just etched versions of those arts.
Tiny indie TCGs can pay for art and not break the bank, and they sell like 14 boxes. There is no universe in which you could have one pack in a collector box, and Magic would still make a ton of money. Like, Magic.
Oh my God, we went from 4 to 1 pack. Why do we want to take all the packs away from people?
You do 1 pack, but I don't want to go that far with you nincompoops.
They did. They sold 12,000 of them, and that's it.
I don't know. Yeah.
The best, like, look at the VIP pack for Double Masters 1. That's what a collector box.
I loved the VIP.
Thank you.
Loved it.
Yep. That's what a collector box should be.
You had 2 foil rare, which is essentially what every one of those packs is.
Thank you.
You had 2 foil rares or mythics. Yep. You had and 2 foil Border of the Swords or mythics. So 4 rares or mythics, and in these collector boxes, you're getting 5 on the Commander Masters.
Yeah, I mean, like, that is what a collector box should be.
Listen, that's a great example, because that was a really fun experience. When you put $100 down and you bought that product, there was like nervousness, hands were sweaty, mom's spaghetti. Opening that product was nuts.
To me, that's what it should feel like when you're opening a collector pack. And
I forgot.
I don't like
I forgot that they did 10 full art basic lands that weren't foil in this. Like what a what a way to why not just make it all foil? I don't understand it.
Because then you would complain about the curling.
Yeah.
It was also like there was one really expensive artist and one super cheap artist for the lands.
Yeah, in every single pack.
Yes. Yeah.
John,
was, like,
John
so
Avon or
that was like the worst part of that box opening was just like,
You think it was bad for you? Think of how it must have been for that second artist.
I thought about that. That poor soul.
Please let me like my
it's
land.
like I can't tell the difference between the two lands at all.
I
Fine.
like the 4-pack collector boosters. I think that's a win. I mean, what if you had 4-pack collector boosters for standard sets and collector boxes were then $100?
I'm okay with that. I mean, it's a VIP pack at that time. That's
Right.
fine.
Yeah.
I think that's a good model.
Bring back VIP boxes and get rid of collectors. It's fine with me.
Now we are actively destroying the environment with more packaging and more boxes being out there.
If Mother Earth can't handle the VIP boxes, if that's the breaking point for Mother Earth, I got news for you.
Take us to Mars. Take us to Mars, Elon. I want to open my collector boxes.
Let's get Pokemon handled first in the TCG industry, and then we can work on that.
They have used more plastic than every grocery store in the world combined.
The new Pokemon boxes are actually smaller. Not the boxes, but the collection. It's like
they can't get bigger.
Yeah.
They won't be able to get mailed.
Yeah,
They're single-handedly
I would also say the same
for the ocean.
The same thing's true, though, in my opinion, for set boxes. I hate when they go from 24 to 30 packs. Like these are 24 pack, and that drives me nuts. Like
I'm more
consumers
okay with
get
that.
confused. Consumers
I think that's fair. I think that part's fair.
And like draft, like why isn't there 36 packs in the draft box of
That bingo, we're on the same side of something. That makes sense.
Like,
why is that not the
I
case?
hate
Packs
that.
are in it.
24.
That's weird.
It's like super annoying.
Well, it's 3 people or it's 8 people, 3 packs with no prize support. That's
right.
what it is for draft.
No prize support. That's cute.
Yeah,
That's
you can't
cute.
do the rest of the boxes prize support.
Cute. Oh, that's cute of them. Now we have to open boxes for prize support. That's adorable.
It's
That's
not
how
adorable.
all master sets have always been.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. This is an expensive set.
I feel the same as George. I was worried this morning, and then when I saw the demonic tutor, smothering tithe, great henge,
Right.
I got excited. I think
in front.
I was gonna try, and then I stopped. Le Grand Crolomec.
It's just a great henge, Louis.
The journalist genius will help you out. Don't worry.
I'm feeling better about it. And okay.
The journalist genius.
Why do you hate funny? It's not even at your expense right now.
I know.
Why do you hate fun.
Louis is on pins and needles with Simon. This is like the worst.
Not.
Oh yeah.
You're different. I love
You're
you,
different.
but you're different
Little egg
today, bud.
jelly.
I spent all day corralling 2 little kids and trying to get them to focus on their art project and this thing. And now I come to the podcast to relax, and I have to corral 2 little kids on their little art project. And what
Excuse me. One of us is a kid. One of us is a journalistic genius.
Yeah, and
You
quite
backtrack.
large.
I actually just don't get the joke. I wasn't paying attention. So,
That follows.
all right, let's talk about the Amazon dump.
I was talking to him.
That's the best part. And he's like, "You guys never engage."
Let's talk about the Amazon dump.
All right. I think this is an interesting conversation because we have it from different perspectives. This Amazon dump means something different to you guys who own stores than it does to someone
I
like
care
me.
about one thing. I care about one thing, and that is Dominaria United collector boxes
Were they on there?
at $110 a box.
Stop. They were not.
They were.
So I just bought a ton of Yeti coolers for the arcade. That was like my big purchase. I also got some Beats headphones for the
Do
arcade.
you guys remember when you told me that I was insane for saying that Dominaria United wasn't going to hold up well because there was Legends cards in there?
I still
They
think
were
it's fun.
110 for collectors.
I didn't know that was on there. I would have bought some because that sounds like a fun experience.
What are the
Are they still 110?
No, I think
they're at 230. I mean, and they're like let's say $235 on TCG Player. I mean, like
That's the price.
Are you?
Were.
Like that's not crazy. I mean, like I don't know. Like this is the problem with like.
Are you looking at Dominaria
That's
Remastered?
not, they're 143 on
Yeah,
I was about to say.
I
Oh,
was about to
Dominaria
say-
United.
I was like, you cannot be correct.
Dominaria United Collection.
Oh, that's fine.
If, you,
Dominaria United.
if you're
Dominaria
correct, there's been
United
some
was-
market manipulations.
They did have, of course, Dominaria Remastered draft boxes. Nobody was surprised by that.
Yeah, no. Dominaria United. That's fine at one.
What a fun draft too.
Dominaria Remastered still sells really, really well in my store.
That was a really fun draft. I really enjoyed
really,
it.
really well. Dominaria Remastered is a good big win. But Dominaria United Collectors was the one that I think was the bigger shock.
Why?
That I mean, like, I don't know.
It's
That's
pretty recent.
it's pretty
all
recent.
things, all
yeah.
things considered, to be 110, it's pretty recent. I could see like a slight discount, but yeah.
Seems Prime Day is wild. Prime Day is shout out to Jeffy B. You really hooked me up this year, Jeffy, and I want you to know I appreciate it.
I got
Prime
two
Day is
first.
wild and oh, did you which one'd you get?
So I got the slim fit ones that are next fit from Graco because our youngest kid is like now ready for she's not forward facing, but like she's outgrown her infant car thing. So now we usually we just bounce the car seat from car to car, but now we're gonna have to get 2 new ones. So it's like a whole thing.
Like I was pretty anti the last Prime Day. This Prime Day they went hard.
Did you get that one?
I can't see what it is.
Did you
I
get
don't
that
know.
one?
My wife bought it. I told her what to buy while I was driving.
Did you get that one?
I don't
Oh,
think so.
I
Maybe.
thought we got the same. I thought we got the same car seat.
Was it 143? I think
I think it was 130.
I think that's the one. Anyway,
Oh no, mine was. No, never mind. I'm wrong.
so do you think like Walmart is upset with Amazon Prime Day, them dumping car seats like we are about Magic product?
God, they should do their own podcast.
Is there a Walmart podcast? I'd listen to a Walmart.
I would absolutely listen to Wally World podcast. Are you kidding me? Wally World.
Damn it, Jeffy Bezos! They're giving you all the stuff.
Not me, baby.
No?
Jeff Bezos hooked me up this Prime Day. I was all about Jeffy B. Got new earphones.
So I know Rudy was quite verbal about this dump.
Was he really?
This one, I guess I'm just used to it at this point.
Well, they've stopped the dumping largely. I mean, like this is the last dump in months. We haven't had a dump in a long time.
We had a dump like 4 months ago.
That's a third of a year. Like if
That's
they
a-
dump
once a
3 times
quarter?
year, I'm okay with that. I think.
So we're gonna get every quarter. We're gonna get a dump.
I mean, listen, that's fine with me. Like before, it was very frequent. This isn't so frequent to me. It's Prime Day. Like people need to chill.
I also don't understand. Like, it's been this way for a while,
Yeah.
and every time it happens, and you're like, "Whoa! I can't
Who could've
believe
guessed? Who could have guessed?
Listen, and you know what? In 4 months, we're gonna have this conversation again. So
so
that's the world we live in.
It'll be Black Friday.
I think this goes back to what we.
Oh, that's gonna be wild.
I think this goes back to like, if you're a store and you're really sitting on a lot of Magic product, that's just you're doing old Magic
Yeah.
store things. That's what
It's
you
not-
used to do, and things are different now, and that's just not the way to do it. And if you are a consumer, I don't know why
say it.
you are buying any
Don't say it.
collector box to hold and
Don't
not
say it.
what.
Don't look at my background. Stop talking.
No,
Stop hurting me.
I think like if you're a consumer, you should just wait for the dump, not buy
I think.
on release. If you're gonna hold sealed product,
I think that's hard. Like they didn't dump everything.
I think most people who hold sealed product don't just hold sealed product though. They also probably open some packs and play Magic. Like,
Right.
and you want to play with the toys when they're released. Like at the end of the day, these are still
Right.
toys. I want to play with
If
them.
you're gonna open, then buy product on release and open it. Then that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you collect and invest in sealed product, just buy what you want to open initially, open it, and then wait for the market to collapse on itself because they overprint and buy that stuff later. Like as a store, that's what I should do. I should wait till they can put it out. I have 4 cases of Dominaria United collector boxes. I should just wait till it's on an Amazon dump to do that. Rather, I should sell everything on release.
But
yes,
like,
that's the second part's true.
But like, that's not how like distro works. Like, if you don't take product from distro, you won't get other product from distro.
Right.
So
you
like,
take it on release.
You take it on release, sell it on release. That's it.
Right. That's what I'm
that's what you should do. That's what everybody should do.
Yeah, like that's the magic model that works right now. And if every store were to follow that model right now, there would be really very few people from a business standpoint left holding any proverbial bags, right? Wizards would have their own bags and then they would get dumped through Amazon and people would buy $110 boxes. I don't think anyone would stop buying the boxes on release in anticipation of maybe $110 boxes 4 months from now.
Right. I think I agree. It still feels like why I guess Wizards just can't set up a way to sell to stores that's not through distro that they can like.
Well, distro would like that
because distro would have to sell their product for less.
I mean, like, look at your email today. You got some sales in there, big guy.
Yeah.
Like distro has like Wizards has a distro problem. This is not new. Like,
what's the distro problem?
What do you do? I mean, like, let's say they wanted to give stores $110 collector boosters. They can't do it without making distro go nuts.
Mm-hmm.
That's more probably. I don't know what they charge distro, but my guess is it's more than that. So like, you have to like really figure this out. Like, it's like the problem is like we can't buy from WotC. If we could buy direct from WotC, I think life would be very different. But it's also like, I mean, it's like WotC's a logistics company then, and I'm not sure they're cut out to be a logistics company.
Why can't they just use Amazon?
Because like Amazon also doesn't do that.
So
like you mean Amazon to supply game stores?
No, yeah, those
because then I would never buy an Amazon.
Consumers should just go there. So what this is a. Do you guys think that this is actually a win for Magic? In other words, what percentage, not what percentage, but does this allow more Dominaria United collector boxes to reach the hands of players and collectors who don't have a local game store, who don't have, hookups at distribution and that kind of thing? Is that wider net a win as a whole for the community?
I think that one's tough, right? I don't know if
I don't think it's a loss. Yeah. I think it's neutral. Like, I mean, it negatively impacts stores, but I don't think it negatively impacts us a lot, to be honest. Like, I don't know about you, but like Dominaria United collectors weren't flying off my shelf the last few months. I mean, like, I mean, this doesn't bother me. I'm not up in arms about it. Like who this helps is like sealed collectors. Like what you said the first time is like, right, like this helps sealed collectors. That's about it.
Because they can get stuff for essentially below cost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're betting on it going up in time. And like maybe that's a good bet, maybe it's a bad bet. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's all part of that game. I guess I struggle with this because and again, I don't have the stress of every time a new set comes blindly telling somebody how many boxes of it I'm going to be able to sell to my community. Like that's not a pool I don't have to swim in that pool. But to me, it's been this way for some time. I very quickly accepted the changes in the Magic the Gathering landscape that I thoroughly enjoy. This landscape that I always thought I knew had changed so drastically, and I just accepted that. There's no reason for me to just scream into the void, in my opinion. So when it does happen, I've gotten so far beyond that. I don't understand the outrage, and it's something that's hard for me to connect with.
I think it feels pretty bad as a store.
Why?
I think it feels bad for me because I sold boxes to somebody, and now they are looking at like, oh, I could have just gotten that for less. Like that feels.
But then they couldn't
months ago.
Yeah, but they couldn't have gotten it when it was the fun thing to play with. Like you play a premium to be first, to be early. You always have for everything.
I guess as a store, I just have to stop thinking about, oh, somebody's going to be buying these to keep sealed. Like that
Yeah,
should,
I mean,
that
like-
that shouldn't even, like, my target audience should just be people who are just opening packs on release.
I mean, like, I have one customer that buys sealed. I mean, nobody else releases.
Yeah, like, I'm not. I'm
sealed.
talking more online, not locally.
I mean, like,
locally, people
online's a
buy
different
packs.
animal.
Yeah, locally, people are buying packs and boxes. They open it in the store as, you know, it's a impulse buy. That's what it is. Like, that's different. Amazon's not competing on that.
I think you have to embrace that people spend their money at your, like, how they see fit. Now, should you be the person that sells $120 to $200 complete bundles or something before they're out? Absolutely not. I don't think so. No, but like, if you put a collector box out and they want to buy that collector box and they ask you, should I keep this sealed? Is it going to go up? You can give your honest opinion, but they just buy it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think you have to stress like, oh my God, what if they keep it sealed and then it's for $100? Like, they spent their money how they want to spend their money.
Yeah.
It's one thing if you're telling them to do it, right? Like, that's different.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's not.
Yeah.
It's more like the online community, I think, is hard. But it's interesting. It's interesting to be in the shift for Magic because, like, so many of us collected sealed product and that was such a part of the experience. And now it just kind of seems like almost worthless to try to do that. I don't know.
I don't know. I've talked about this before. I don't think that's true. I don't, and maybe this is where you're right and I'm very wrong. I've always thought, like, hey, as soon as someone says nobody should do that because it's a bad idea forever, and that becomes the community consensus, well, that seems to be the time to, you know, zig when others zag, right? Like, now it's the time to do it. Because if everyone says all of this era of Magic is trash and nobody engages with it, well, we know Wizards of the Coast will either dump it on Amazon or throw it in a landfill. Like, it's gone someday in my lifetime, sooner or later.
Yeah.
So maybe not. And at the end of the day, I like looking at it. It makes me smile.
I agree. Yeah, I just think it's, like, hard to think of the quantity that is available.
That's, yeah.
Like,
if you get too far down that rabbit hole, it's depressing.
There's over 100 boxes on the front page of Dominaria United on TCG Player. That's $155 or below. Like, 100 boxes. Like, that's a ton of quantity that's available, and they're selling a box a day. You know what I mean?
Don't you think that's a lot of influx too, though? We just had the recent Amazon fiasco, and people are like, oh, I can make $40 a box here.
Yeah,
and get 5% cash back.
Where I go back to, like, calling something a collectible product that drops 50, it drops 40 to 50 40%, 35-40% over 6 months. It's just not collectible, and that's what drives me nuts about it. But I don't know.
I think that's a different issue. I think the product itself is fine. I think the fact that some of these are vastly overprinted and are being dumped, that's a problem, right? Collector products should be collectible. I agree with you.
Okay, you guys ready to talk about Cryptic?
Is the answer yes?
I'm not ready to talk about Cryptic.
Do you want to talk more about Magic?
And yeah.
Do you want to talk about anything else?
Oh, you just don't want to talk about
This was a rough release.
Yeah. All right. So Cryptic just put out a survey today, and we talked about the release last week a little bit, George.
What did you guys say?
We said that the gameplay was really good.
Right.
And that the news...
That's what this podcast is known for. It's gameplay content. You guys nailed that.
Well, because we had just drafted it at the store. And that the set was super fun to play. But that the gold God box was a mistake in terms of it being visible from the outside. And I said that I like the card quality better in the Genesis set.
Does anybody disagree with that?
Yeah. There was some conversation, people disagreeing. But so now we have the Cryptic survey, and I want to say this: show me another company that sees the community talking about their game and is upset about some things, and their response is, "Hey, we want to put out a survey to categorize and hear your feedback in a healthy way." Like, that's a huge win, and like. I have to give it to them to say, hey, we want to hear your feedback. Like, that's a huge win for Cryptic. And so I want to start off by saying that's a big win, that they want the feedback from their customers, from their
I think that's
people.
a big win. I think that's very good of them. That shows maturity on Tanner's part. This was a bad release.
Yes.
Yes.
And this was a release where I'm like, I'll be honest, I'm like, how did you not realize this was a bad release?
Yeah, the mistakes seem obvious.
The cases are plain boxes.
Uline boxes that I can order. We talked about this
with thin tape, and they're like, and people are like, oh, you can buy stop tape. I'm not talking about that. Like at least this is like.
We talked about all this last week when you were dead.
Yeah.
I don't.
Welcome back, by the way.
I don't like some of my boxes had packing peanuts, some had the brown paper in it.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
I do not understand
I had more
how this seems to have gone awry.
I left this in my cryptic survey because of a lot of those issues. I don't want to get into the details of what was happening, but because of the delay for PhD was a really big thing that I think that should have been
Disclosed.
It should have been disclosed to the community.
Yeah,
because I had people who I didn't have boxes to give them.
Right.
And they were upset with me that they didn't have boxes, and they have to trust me, the retailer,
and they should never do that.
Right? They have to trust me, the retailer, because they haven't heard anything from the creators. And I think that was a big thing. And then that put a ton of stress on my relationship with my reps, because I'm trying to get boxes out to the customers. And I'm stuck in this middle ground of dealing with reps who have no clue where their boxes are. They have no clue when they're going to get boxes. And my customers like, hey, where's my box? Hey, where's my boxes? Hey, where are my... Then the case size was different, and all my orders were full case.
I loved that was and they also weren't tight. Like the box, like the cases were loosey goosey.
Yeah.
I remember so it's funny. So you called me and was like, hey, these cases are like really not super great. This release is pretty rough. And I was like, oh, good. FUD Master Flex coming to FUD up yet another TCG. I've seen this movie before. Every TCG. And so, except for the one that he's on right now, of course. This one he'll love forever.
Oh my God.
And so I drive to the store and I open the case. I'm like, wow, he undersold how bad this was. I was like, wow, this is rough action. This is rough. Tanner needs to I think he knows this because why he's doing the survey. He has to do better. But honestly, I think he needs to do something to make up to LGSs for this release.
Yeah.
This was rough.
Somebody said in one of the Discords, Tanner needs to go back to the crappy Canadian printer.
I don't think that's true.
So here's my.
I don't like the bad cases versus you fisting a pack. I think that's a tough decision for me to be honest.
No, it's not.
I think fisting the pack might have this one.
Wave 2 was so much better. It's unbelievable how much.
I don't know if that's true.
It's 100% true.
I don't know if I agree with that.
I think the biggest issue for me there's the communication issue is the biggest issue. Not telling us the case size, not telling us the delays.
I did love that. I opened it up because I was like, oh, they gave me the wrong number of cases. A guy called Distro. I'm like, what the hell?
One of my distros didn't even know
No, nobody knew. It was a surprise to everybody.
They had the boxes already. And I was like, well, the cases are cases of 8. He was like, no, they're not. They're 6. I was like, you just told me you have cases in hand finally. They're 8. I've held the cases. He's like, well, the system says they're 6. I was like, I don't know what to tell you, buddy. Anyway, this was after release.
Then they were also 4 and 4 versus again, it was a loose box. It was weird.
So I think they need to fix I think the printer was good. I think the print quality seemed pretty good. The paper was it was horrible. So get the same paper that was used that an inner core paper, and have the new printer use that paper. I don't know if it's possible or not, but
honestly, you need to find a new printer.
Yeah.
I was pretty stuck, as you can imagine, on the idea of the God box being visible. That one's still talking about it a week later blows me away.
And like, I don't here's what I don't get. Like, what Tanner is so good at is like the whatnot stuff. Like, he gets what makes a good box.
He does.
I mean, dude, it's great for whatnotters.
But it's not, because they have to buy cases now. They can't buy boxes.
They can't buy cases.
That's
scary.
There you go, boo boo. You hit it.
Where it's good for is the
you eventually found it. I laid out the trail. And
Louis, were you going to say it? Say it. Louis,
I'm
say
not
it.
even going to talk.
Say it.
Say it.
Good for the distros who can open all the boxes and send us open cases to the stores. And then
I want the record reflect that is probably not true, and Louis is probably wrong about this.
Well, what am I supposed to do when I receive 144 boxes?
I'm not saying you didn't get burned. I'm saying
I got burned hard. What am I supposed to do with $8,000 worth of product that I can't sell as cases?
I'm not
the only
saying
thing people want are cases.
I'm not
Burn
saying
your
you didn't get
relationships.
burned.
Yes.
I'm saying I don't think distro opened your cases to look for boxes.
Somebody opened the
of
They
cryptic.
did.
Of
They
cryptic.
did, Louis. They did.
Sure.
They did. It was distro.
Distro looked at the cameras. Distro knows they didn't do it. Like, I think the open box thing works really well for whatnotters, because they know how much money they're going to make off of their stream. They know what the going value is for a God box, so they can go and find a God box and say, "Hey, I need to make $1,000," and they have this attention thing. It works well for whatnot. That's like, I think it's. I'm not saying I like it. I'm saying like that's why they did it, because they knew it would work well for whatnot. I think we talked about it last week. It would have been better if it was inside the box. Every pack was gold inside the box.
Yeah, that would have been way better.
Yeah.
Raiders of the Lost Ark style. You open it's like, face just melts.
Like, I guess this was a miss.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, it's like a scary miss.
So let's say they do a survey, they hear that not just from three bozos on a podcast, and they actually take what's the next step for Tanner? What's the next step for Cryptic? New printer.
That's it. That's what
I think it's new printer and go back to the fundamentals, right? In my opinion, like, you as an indie TCG, like, you have to do something different, right? You have to catch the attention, but you can't go too far. And like the printing the box on the outside, that's going too far outside of the fundamentals to try to break the mold. Back towards the norm a little bit, and then believe in your game and what you do, and then change it from there, I guess.
Yeah, that's good. I think they need. I agree. New printer. I think it's hard to find a new printer though. Like, that's.
You got to do it. Like, this didn't work. This did not work. I don't know what happened. This did not work.
Yeah, our position on this podcast is like, it's hard. We don't accept that, right? You got to do it.
Yeah. Anyway, it's wild. Pretty disappointing.
Sorry,
I'm
George.
glad they're doing a survey. I hope they take the survey to heart.
That is what Tanner is best at. I'm not worried about that. Yeah. Tanner will take the feedback and he'll take it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about let's move on to our interview with Simon. Cut. All right, well, break back with Simon from Sorcery. Welcome, Simon, to the MetaZoo be with you.
Well, thank you very much. Louis, you got me on to talk about NFTs, right?
Yeah.
He gets it.
I'm in.
Simon has been an active member in our Discord server for years, and thank you for your contributions to that, the discourse and dialogue there.
That's really why we had you on today, to talk about Louis' Discord. So thank you for coming on. What's your favorite part of Louis' Discord, and what's your favorite Taylor Swift song? Go ahead.
So Taylor Swift, I like the old ones, not the Taylor versions. I'm sorry.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a place in time, but I'm not a huge fan. I'm into the Beatles and things like that. So sorry to disappoint you, George.
That's all right.
Yeah.
And Louis' favorite part of Louis' Discord? Go ahead.
I'm not a Beatles fan. I'm sorry, Simon. I think the Beatles are like the most overrated band of all time.
I actually feel the same way, which I know is dangerous to say into a microphone. I'm aware of what I just did.
I have tried to like the Beatles all of my life, and maybe it's that my stepdad likes them, and there's that. but I just can't get myself.
Not interested, Dad. Yeah.
Welcome to the Simon interview, Louis' therapy session.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I just can't get myself to like the Beatles.
So Lord of the Rings and the Beatles are out for you.
Yeah,
God, you.
Wow. So much left.
I only like the American things.
This is the guy doing a lot of work for your game here, Simon. Just remember that, buddy. I'd be careful right now.
I must admit, he is one of our key advocates for sure. I've watched your show and watched him spread the good word over the last few weeks with you folks as well.
All right, so I'm curious, Simon, as you get alpha is now pretty much in the hands of people, and it's been a whole year and a half or whatever trip. Where are you feeling on the scale of things being fulfilled? What percentage of alpha do you think is in the hands of people, and are you kind of happy? I know you've had a huge part of that. Kind of happy of where things are.
I'm never happy till it's complete, and we have to look at the amount that's been fulfilled, but the people potentially with outstanding issues, and those are incredibly important to us. We've had issues with customs in Europe, which we had not anticipated. So, we remain very focused on those types of things as well. We want everybody who believed and backed us to be happy. We have to be very realistic about things as well. One of the issues you have with any kind of game is distribution of stock. And so in some cases, we may need to move stock around. We had an instance in the US where some of the pre-constructed decks, for some reason, we didn't have enough. We think it may have been an issue when it was packed at the factory. They didn't quite count properly. And so we have to move things between different territories. That happens. That's the kind of thing that happens. And we're a new company. We came into this Kickstarter and we figured that we're going to do okay, but didn't quite anticipate this level of success.
Yeah.
Well, it's also already a game at scale, which I imagine makes those logistics issues even harder. It's not like, you guys sold 14 boxes and 3 pre-cons. You guys sold thousands of each.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which makes those, even harder.
It is. We did partner with ShipQuest or GamesQuest, and they use regional partners as well. And that's proven to be very, very useful, very helpful to us, because we would never be able to learn how to do that type of thing. There's a lot to it. But, we remain focused on making sure that people do get the product that they backed. And there's still a bit more work to do. But overall, we're happy with the fulfillment level. A lot of people have it in hands now. And the early feedback is that most people are happy with the project and the product.
Well,
go ahead, Josh.
Not just the challenges, right? I mean, it's always fun to talk about what you have to overcome to get there. But now that people are getting your hands on their hands on your product, what are you feeling from like a personal standpoint?
It's certainly a feeling of achievement for sure. That we did this. It's when it started, we always question ourselves. We're a small team, and we don't have everything worked out. Sometimes we look at a problem. I'm quite similar to you, Josh, in my role with the company, which is probably solving problems to make it easier for other people. You mentioned your clients previously and how you help them to overcome those types of issues. And so I try and move things out of the way for the rest of the team so they can operate. When you've got a hugely talented pool of people, you want them to be as effective as possible. So when you look at things like logistical problems and things like that, it becomes very important just to really try and learn what everyone else is doing, understand from your partners who are very supportive how to really deliver.
And as you guys move into beta, and this is no longer a Kickstarter that you're fulfilling direct to consumer, that opens up a whole nother plethora of challenges. But do you feel a little bit of a sense of relief that you don't have to actually be the one that's getting product into the hands of people?
You don't have to do fulfillment.
Is there a sense of relief to that, or is there a sense of like newer challenges that are another thing to overcome?
Yes and no. I like getting to know people firsthand. When you have that kind of distributor store relationship, it comes a little bit more abstracted. But I'm hearing from people directly what they like, what they don't like, the issues that they have, how they feel about things. It's very important to remain connected to our community. So I will miss that part of it. But in terms of solving problems at scale, it becomes a lot easier to move one product to a certain location. Our role really is to make sure that that's done effectively and it basically gets to the people the right way. And so that's a different type of problem that we'll be solving.
So I will say that Distro has told me that pre-orders are through the roof for beta. Like they are very happy with the pre-orders they've received so far, is my understanding. Let me ask you a question broadly about the landscape of TCGs today.
Okay.
And where you see sorcery in it. I've pretty publicly held the position that there won't be 15, 20 new winners in TCGs. There'll be one, maybe two big winners out of the current crop of TCGs. Do you guys feel that way? Do you talk about that? And how do you ensure sorcery is one of those winners?
Depends on what you want to win, because what we've seen is that TCGs 20 years ago is a lot different from what TCG is today.
Sure.
The element of collectability is much more expansive. There is segments of consumers who just aspirationally would love to play the game, end up just buying cards, looking at them, holding them, having them, collecting them, and they skew more towards the collector, maybe even the speculator as well. So in fact, when you consider everything else out there, it would be silly for us to try and win on those terms. You win on your own terms. And so when Eric created the company, he wanted to do things his way. He wanted to create a game which was had a vintage aesthetic that was designed to be expansive, that he can get all of his favorite pieces of art in there. That's how we wanted to win. And have we done that? Yes, we have. In terms of how we compete, that's always a really challenging thing, because we hear people talk about, there's so many, there's an overload of products and I can't keep up, and some people like that and some people don't like that. But it always comes down to the fact that you really want to win on your own terms. We have goals, we have milestones that we want to hit, but I think fundamentally we just want to create a really cool game that people who love it, and they can share it with their friends, and they can continue to love it for a long period of time. This is why we exist, and this is why we will continue to produce trading cards.
So, and you, sorry, go ahead, George.
So when you're in distribution now, it's obviously, they're trying to sell 40 games. Can you give us an insight, a behind the curtains view of, do you give them a sell sheet? How are you telling distro, this is who you guys should be targeting as your customer, this is how you should be selling it to them? What are your sell points for stores to carry sorcery?
That's a good question. When you speak to people at distributors, they are fans of trading card games. They follow everything, they look at everything, and they collect as well. And so the first step is to get them interested as people, for them to see it for themselves. And so, I've spent time with each distribution partner talking a lot about the project, showing the product, and that initial buy-in allows them to perceive how that's a fit for their customer base. Again, us being new, we don't really understand their customers as well as they do. Though we don't understand how they launch other products, and so we have to lean a lot on their expertise. We can tell them what we think about it, how it functions. They can see a lot of influencer videos, things like that. The information's out there, but people kind of have to draw their own conclusions. We'd like to give some guidance, obviously, is to say, for instance, our game is more of the kitchen table aesthetic in terms of how it's played. So it's not sort of a highly competitive game. But then again, we're seeing people play it highly competitively. You can't really control that. It's a function of the actual, the way the game's designed itself. So really our sort of position is to support people, distributors certainly, as the game goes into the store. And so when store owners have that, they can actually then create an event around it. We're looking a lot about, you've spoken a lot, George, before about, how a game functions for a store. How do they make money with it? It's really not down to the games themselves to help the stores, basically, because they've got a bigger problem, which is the availability of the things they sell on the web. And that for them is their biggest challenge. If we make a compelling game that people love, that brings people together into their stores, that's a way that they can actually monetize that experience through product, through, as you've probably heard from a lot of game stores, pay for play space, events, that type of thing as well. That's really what's happening. If we're going head to head with anything out there, then we're looking at an experience like Commander as a fantastic way of doing it. People, that's I believe it's the way that the majority of people actually enjoy Magic the Gathering as a game. For us to actually have that market where it's not highly competitive, it doesn't have a huge cadence in terms of updates and cards and things like that. It seems that those people will be very receptive to our product. And what we're seeing is that, in fact, those people do gravitate towards sorcery and really enjoy it.
So Based on that kind of idea that you guys are focusing more on a casual environment, and you just put out the store kit, and I'll put the store kit up on the screen too. Help me.
Great.
Yeah. So help me understand, as you guys were producing the store kit, how do you anticipate seeing stores use it in casual ways? Because most other indie games, it's like, here's your prize support, host an event, top 8 get this, champion gets this. How do you envision stores utilizing the kit? And I'll put the kit up as you're talking about it, but how do you envision stores utilizing the kit?
We want them to do it in conjunction with the players this time. What happens is that as a producer, it's very easy to us to say, you need to use the kit this way, play the game this way. This is what happens with rules in place. If you don't follow the rules, we'll get angry with you. We're not going to do that. What we'd rather have is, first of all, the socialization of the fact that the kit exists, and then a consultation between store owner and interested players on how they think this should happen. This is why we get into the social play. It's a social interaction between the store owner and the players. You'll create a community, players come together, they'll determine how they want to do things. That's what really happens in a lot of cases. Mm-hmm. If a store kit goes out there, sometimes smaller stores, they just don't have the players to support it. They've got all of this cool stuff. And what do? They just give it out. It's really not for us to determine how people will enjoy the game. Obviously, the design facilitates certain play styles and things that we want people to enjoy. But being a new game, our first store kit is really about collecting information. What are people doing with it? Mm-hmm. One thing we're trying to avoid is working with brick and mortar stores, because we don't really want people to separate it out, part it out, and put it on eBay. But again, that happens for all games as well. So really, it becomes a way that you bring people together in the store. They start interacting about how they would like to participate in an event, and then the store owner will do that in consultation with the players.
Cool. Yeah, I like the idea that it's like not like legalistic for the stores, that they have to do it in a certain way and they can kind of experience it in the way that they want.
It's kind of painful for stores, so when you're told to do things a certain way and they're looking at their player base and the players push back on it and say, I don't really want to do it that way. To have the option of having this sort of combination of player and store owner making that determination seems to be the sensible way of doing it.
Well, and especially when it's locked into time frames, and there's so many games out, there's so many vacations and holidays, there's so many things that happen, and when you're limited to a 3-day window to host an event, and Magic has a major release, or it's a major holiday in the US, it's hard to do those things in that way. And so I like the idea of hey, here's a store kit, use it. And I think also customers police the stores. If you're sure. buying Sorcery at a store, a brick and mortar store, they're getting a kit, and if they're not using it, you're just going to go buy somewhere else. Right.
This is people have talked a lot about how we market Sorcery, and the answer is, first of all, we had nothing to market for the longest time. Kickstarter was successful, and we had no product for people to buy. And so it becomes very challenging to know how to market that without creating a disparity in terms of customer expectations and product availability. So what we focused on was really, first of all, the product, and secondly, the experience that people had through the design, the collectability, those types of things, because we really felt that our best advocates are our players and our collectors and the people who backed us on Kickstarter. So as a result of them experiencing the product, that's far more organic growth than we could ever wish for. We've got 6,000 advocates of the game, people who enjoy it. They're sharing it with friends. What are we seeing? We see a doubling. And then they go to a store, speak to a store owner about the store kit, and then they see potentially more people and they pre-order beta. This is our growth pattern. We really need to take the foot off the gas a lot in terms of what we're seeing with these experiences. If things are available in an accelerated time frame, people consume parts of it, and it becomes almost frustrating to keep up. So this is really not just in terms of our release cadence, but the way that we want people to grow we want to grow our business and for people to enjoy it.
I want to talk about release cadence in a second here, but that kind of slow organic growth, was that like a conscious decision that you guys made not to, we've seen a lot of TCGs. We've seen more than a few TCGs be like, what we're going to do? We're going to take down Magic. Those MFs got it coming to them.
Right.
I'm going to their house. We're burning it down, and we're the new Magic the Gathering. And then they like completely fall off a cliff. Was there a conscious decision to kind of do organic growth versus, barbarians at the gate style take it over?
Yes, every time, because the gates are littered with the corpses of the other people that tried to do the same thing. So, we kind of
That's fair.
Go, yeah, well, that's not working. So let's take this steady.
All right, so let's get into the meaty stuff here now.
Okay.
Can you talk to us about your release cadence, as you said, and why you guys picked that path?
Yeah. Because it's achievable for a small team to work with our artistic talent to produce the product that we want people to enjoy. So that's.
Can you say what the release cadence is? Because some people might. This might be people's
absolutely.
first introduction to Sorcery. Welcome to the Sorcery.
Yeah, hi guys. Yeah, hope you enjoy.
Simon's on every week talking about Sorcery. Don't let him tell you otherwise.
And now his schedule's ruined.
That's right. We start at midnight.
Stop it.
Yeah, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't know why you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Working with Louis, dude. Working with Louis.
All nighter. And so the release cadence is potentially like one set a year. That's what we want to try and do. Obviously, alpha and beta. So alpha was the Kickstarter print, and we have the beta edition, which is basically our sort of go-to-market for retailers, which has we're on record with saying that it's the same cards, but there are sort of small typographical improvements.
Scooby.
Yeah, I think most people in the community certainly appreciate that. And then there's some small changes to some of the art. We are not moving forward with Frank Rosetta art in beta for a number of different reasons.
Oh, really? Is that public?
Yeah. Yeah, people speculate on the reasons, but it was our decision. So that's what we wanted to do to distinguish the products. And I feel that, there's always opportunities to do more stuff in future. Let's put it that way. So we feel good about that. But, when we talk about one set a year, if you look at the hype cycle for trading card games, what actually happens is that you have a 6 to 7 month cycle for each product that's out there. You have the initial announcement, and then it ramps up, and then things go through to distribution. You have a preview, you have pre-release, you have the release, and then you have the play cycle. Those things actually are a fairly extended time period. So the issue is that a lot of those things overlap. And so that's when you see a card game have, say, I don't know, between 3 and 12 releases a year, depending on which game it is. Then you're actually seeing that happen. Now, for us not doing that, people are saying, well, how do you keep people's attention? And the answer is, well, if you have an excellent game, then it becomes something where people will continue to enjoy. Again, if we're talking about like the hype cycle here, it's not something we want to facilitate. Us having this organic enjoyment of the game over a period of time builds stronger relationships with our players, and it allows the game to be much more part of their spare time, as an example. Now, we're very attuned to what happens in other media, other types of things as well. And so what typically happens when you have a regular release cycle is that there needs to be some level of management of the play experience, especially with competitive games. And so you see people step in to say, well, actually, we need to have a ban or a errata or something like that happen to make sure the game continues to function that way. Now, that has to be done on the release cycle based on the fact that product is already being created 6 months, 18 months ahead of time. So things are already in play, and so they have to act to make those changes. Now, when we look at things like video games as an example, obviously Eric is one of the founders of Grinding Gear Games. And if you look at Path of Exile, very successful video game, extremely successful video game, they have the notion of seasonal play, where people come back to enjoy the game regularly over that period of time. It's the same base game, but they change things up a little bit. So what we would like to do is introduce some level of product, and we're not being declarative exactly what it is, because we're still got to package it up and do some other things as well, but have something which we can drop into that release cycle, which is another consideration. That's actually, suddenly there's some new cards introduced which changes things up a little bit. Maybe I can enjoy those and play that. Now, is it designed to be a ban and a errata or something like that? No, again, I use the word organic a lot, but it's a lot more. It basically just changes or shifts the meta. Is that a good or a bad thing? Well, we need to start collecting data to understand how that is. And this is why we have our Curiosa.io platform. We look at things like the builds of the decks. So Curiosa.io is our card library and our deck builder that we acquired during last year, and it allows us to get fantastic metrics on how people enjoy the cards, the game, and how they create decks. So with that information as well, really helps us allow us to build out what would be maybe more of a seasonal element. And a seasonal element can be delivered in product, it could be delivered in a play kit, it could be maybe a format that we introduce. Those types of things really help the game's life cycle over that yearly period.
So you're thinking like every say 4 months or 3 months, there would be some form of thing that is given or sold to stores to do what is basically like some sort of release event, right? Because I kind of think of
You've taken what I've said and you've made it a thing.
Yeah, that's
you took a leap there, buddy.
Wow. I like that.
I like the
like,
leap, but
that's
you leap.
what I'm
Humorous,
hearing.
Louis. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
but because what
How many cards will be in the first set, Simon? Tell us right now. In the first mini set,
10K sub content creator, man. Ego. I'm telling you.
It's basically, so I will say that we have a set which has been fully tested and we're really happy with it. So we've got something ready, but we want to work on how we package it. How do we get it out there in a way that's meaningful to a trading card collector? That's the kind of work we're doing now.
So I want to touch on the release cadence for a second, if I could, because I have found myself bitten by the sorcery bug, and I've been a vocal proponent of multiple releases per year. And I was going to ask you how you plan to train like an existing consumer like me that's used to that rapid release cycle. But what you just said answered that question. What I do want to know is someone like me who's been enamored with collecting just a single card in sorcery. Like I'm trying to get every copy of this card that I can. How do you keep me engaged from a collectability and an art standpoint through those releases? It seems like a great way to get me in to play the game. But if I'm really about filling my binder and showing off this beautiful art, is that something you have a plan for? Or is that something you think will just happen organically through the nature of the art?
I think to a degree, yes. The game was designed to have collectability built into it through the introduction of the foils. The foil cards were not something we initially really wanted to do because it moved away from the initial aesthetic a little bit. And so after the Kickstarter, right at the Kickstarter, we kind of made the decision to go with it because we wanted to have it as a stretch goal. And then we had to work on rotoscoping and foiling some cards. And when I went to Eric, I was like, get this done. He goes, yeah, I want to do all of them. And it's like, wow, okay. So now we have 403 cards which are foiled. And obviously they have different levels of rarity and they have the collectability. Now, I know that, Josh, you enjoy things like serialized cards. And I always push back on that notion a little bit because, I always think to myself, what's the point in having card 238? What does that really mean? You're part of a gang, but the number itself means nothing. But having that kind of same level, unless it's 500, and I think there's two
Josh,
other numbers
listen,
that people gravitate.
You matter.
Listen, you just destroyed my world.
Don't let Simon tell you otherwise. You matter, my friend.
You do matter, but you're a number, Josh, unfortunately. Okay.
I'm on Team Simon. You don't matter that much. Do you expect the mini sets to have that same kind of collectability? And it sounded like there might be two different products. One might be a mini set. One might be like a rule alteration. Am I reading between the lines correctly? Am I way off?
Am I Louing this up? What am I?
Yeah, like I don't want to mislead people because we're working a lot of this stuff out right now. We're collecting so much information from people about how they're playing and enjoying the game. We have like plans as to which direction we want to move in, but we're kind of listening right now. The timing of this means that we do have a little bit of a window to understand what's happening and then to execute on the plan. So while we understand what's happening, have things changed dramatically? Not really. But we do want to make sure that we give it our due consideration. So, would it be, a rules check? We've already said we're currently working on drafting the game to make that a really fully fledged experience as well. We're doing some things there to really help boost that. And in 2024, we're committed to doing our 4-player mode, which might sound like, we just get people together to play it with 4 players, and people already do that today. They can have 4-player games, but we want to introduce a reason that people would enjoy that with the product as well. So later on next year we hope to do something there. So
currently for those 4-player games, because I'm sure people will be interested in that. Are people using multiple playmats, or are they using one playmat? What's the realm size looking like as you're seeing it in the community?
It depends. I think people are basically, so the game doesn't have to be played with a playmat. First of all, it's a nice way of organizing the cards, but people are basically just extending that out. And what we're seeing with multiplayer up until now, anyway, is a lot of people have used Tabletop Simulator to achieve that. So they're coming together that way, and we get the data there. We see people's feedback, so that's good for us. Most of the card design we've done has been done with that in mind, so it would be easy for us to. Well, no, I won't say that because I don't do that work. Should not be complicated for us to move over to that type of model.
Cool. Do we have any idea of when Arthurian Legends is coming out? We know beta is coming out in October.
Yes.
What's the release looking like for Arthurian Legends? Is that set done? Is it complete? Are we still working on it? What's that? Where are we in that process?
Yeah, that's a good question. So with Arthurian Legends, obviously we need to have the feedback at scale on the alpha and beta sets. So the design is in place for sure. We've not been declarative as to when that is. That the art is mostly provisioned, as an example. So that for us is a huge bottleneck, which allows us then to develop the cards, structures, and things like that. But it's something that's, when it's ready, it's out there. We really want to focus on that has to hit. That has to be the wow. This is worthwhile. Me moving outside all the cool stuff I have already, and I want to experience Sorcery that way as well. So many games, you play them, and the second set comes out, and it doesn't feel the same. It feels like it's bolted on, added on, and we've all had enough experience with those projects that we really want to make sure that what we do is homogenous, but it gives a kind of a new theme or feel to it, and that's why we picked Arthurian Legends.
Cool. So 2024, any okay, good.
And you guys already released some of the foiling for it too, right? It's got that kind of crazy foiling for it.
Yeah, people are very fixated on foil and foil treatments and things like that. Digging back into some of the podcast history, we're talking about card production and quality and foiling and things like that. And it's always been something which it's been very hard to communicate. So, when we did our foil treatments, we took it quite seriously in terms of how that effect should look. And as Josh has shown one out, we're very happy with that design as well. We feel that in conjunction with having the full art back of the cards, we feel that they look really, really fantastic, and very happy with it as well. And the feedback's been great. So we'd like to continue to do that for sure. But, as a small organization, we can move and do cool things that we would like to do. And maybe in the future, we'd like to iterate on that a little. But right now, that's really what we're aiming to produce, that standard.
So backup foils, that's like permanent? That's not going to be like a limited to alpha type thing? That's going to be, you're going to have front and back on all the cards?
Could you imagine if we took it out, what people would say?
I mean,
yeah, they would be happy. So of course we'll continue to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just curious, because I know some games try to do something different for like a first edition. Like that's like, limited. I was just curious if that was.
Louis trying to pump his single store as hard as he can. He is trying to pump his single store as hard as he can.
I haven't even listed a single foil.
I haven't even listed them at gamersgrove.gg yet. I'm with you, Louis. I get it, buddy.
Well, since you mentioned a single store, and since George, you seem so enamored by the shark, I got to ask the most important question. How many giant sharks do you have to sell me right now? I want them all.
How many sharks are in Arthurian?
How many sharks will you sell me on this podcast live right now? This second. I will buy them all.
The odds of me being the one on task the odds of that were wild.
Shut up and take my money. I want the foil sharks.
Wow. All right.
I'm sorry.
So
I'm bitten, dude.
One of the things about this is that as a team, we don't have a tremendous amount of product. Like, there's always the notion that, you get everything when you work for a trading card game company. You don't. And you have to collect it the same way. And so we're seeing people Yeah, when you see people pull the cards, it's important for us to learn how it feels, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of cheating if you get all the stuff and you think, oh, it's fine. No, we want to experience it the way that other people do. So, you know, maybe a bit later we'll get a few more boxes. We can crack those. But yeah, I'll collect
Ira, one of your staff, not full time. I don't know if he's full time staff, but we just traded, me and Ira, who's on the sorcery videos. We just traded a bunch of cards because he needed cards to fill his collection to go to Gen Con.
Well, that's what it's all about. And you know, people talk about TCG, trading card games. The trading has been so commoditized now that people say, well, you know, I need a platform where I can trade cards effectively. And obviously, GameGrave.gg does allow people to do that. But
Can I clip that? Can I clip that and just put it at the beginning and end of all my sorcery videos?
Maybe not. I don't know. But I think what's happening is that people say, well, I need to trade my cards. And that's great, but you've kind of bought into something which is a social activity anyway. To play the game, you kind of have to meet other people to do that. So what we'd love to do is to make it so there is a community built around the fact that people can meet in person and can actually trade these cards effectively face to face, because such an important part of the community aspect of that is to meet other people as well. That's our aim. Will it happen? We don't know, but we're certainly going to do everything we can to support that.
Yeah, Josh, I think we talked, maybe, I don't know if you remember this, like 6 months, a year ago, we talked about how nobody trades Magic cards anymore. Like nobody has a Magic trade binder really anymore, and
yeah,
I feel like that's still holds true.
Can you talk a little bit about, are you guys in talks with TCG players? Is that something you're allowed to talk about? Is that a super secret thing? I mean, like TCG players kind of become the focus of a lot of TCGs. This is where you buy and sell cards. This is where we do price discovery, basically. Sorry, Louis. I know GamersGrove.gg will take down TCG player one day, but maybe not today.
eBay works pretty well for price discovery too.
But I mean, like, it doesn't work as well. Like, there's a reason everybody wants to be on TCG player.
Okay.
Have you guys thought about TCG players? Something you'd like to do? Something you don't think about? What are your thoughts?
Oh, we've thought about it for sure. And initiated discussions and spoken to the guys there, but we want to do it at the right time in our life cycle. You know, if we elect to do it, it's, if you look at the experience itself, what happens is you're taking a sealed product, you're unbundling it, and you're extracting areas of value, so people can have those cards. And as a producer, you kind of think to yourself, well, should we just sell those cool cards that people want? And so that's why we've made every single card very, very attractive. And people often say that, well, you know, the ordinaries are as good as the uniques. And it's like, well, yes, every card is designed to have that feel special. Now, if you look at it from the seller perspective, what are you doing? You're listing all of your cards on there. And the next morning you come on and someone's undercut you by 1 cent. You press a button, you basically go lower, 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 and lower. And it commoditizes the process to a degree where it becomes very much a transactional, I'll get that card. Once you have it, what happens? Probably goes into a binder. It's not a memorable event. Nothing really happens. And so I think for people who are not directly connected to communities, it's a very powerful tool for sure. But you know, we kind of want to disrupt things a little bit, look a little bit deeper as to what's there. TCG Player would be a fantastic partner for us for sure, but we want to do it at the right time, so we can understand how it adds value to our customers.
So it sounds, I just want to make sure I'm understanding you correctly here. So it sounds like one of the reasons you guys don't love TCG Player like the other single stores is because you think there's something special about opening the box, and that's that kind of core memory for sorcery that you want people to have. Is that right? Yeah,
I think there's a lot to be said for that for sure, especially given what we see from the demographic of the people who enjoy our project. You know, we hear people who have acquired product, they've got sorcery boxes, and what do they say? Well, I'm going to open a couple of them. And then we look at Discord and they've got like 6 or 7 pictures of every single box being opened. And they're like, well, it looks like that didn't work out. So that's the fun. It's a great experience when you open the boxes, because the set size is so big. You're seeing new art all of the time, and the collectability is built in. There's some great cards to pull.
I think also, George, the other thing he talked a lot about is trading and being in person to interact with cards. I think that's really cool too. Like,
what do you think makes the boxes so special to open in your view, Simon?
Do you feel they are?
Do I? I've opened one box. I thought it was nice. I mean, like, listen, I think I was very impressed with the quality of the cards. As you know, I was very anxious when things started to come out about the quality of the cards, and I was very impressed with the quality. I've said this before. I think Sorcery is an experiment. You guys are doing things basically the opposite of every other TCG that I can think of. Less foils, huge sets, focus on really unique art. And I'm like, listen, I think you guys are clearly the story of 2023. And, we're going to watch this together how it goes. I thought it was a pretty cool box opening experience.
Good. I'm really close to it, so I'm biased.
Yeah, of course. but you work for them because you like the game. It's not like you're doing this for the paycheck. Like nobody's in TCGs for the money.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. I do this because I absolutely love the game. I love everything about it. I love the art, love the artists. I love our team, Eric's creativity and the way that he thinks about things. It's just, for me, I never would not want to do, if you know what I mean. It's one of those things where, yeah, of course you'd be part of it. When we speak to our team, everybody's like, I'm in. I'm doing the thing that everybody dreams of in the industry. Now, what I would be careful about is talking about comparing us to other games out there, because every trading card game feels that, and they want to do something special, and we're not going to take away from that. We love other trading card games. I've been on record of collecting everything, you name it. I've got a Genesis collection, Polywog. I've even got boxes.
You and Louie.
I don't have any boxes of Polywog yet. Did you pay the extra money to get your box of Polywog? Because I didn't do that.
Have it. Yeah, I did. And
I want you to know I've offered to pay Louie's extra money if I can get the box, so I can open it on stream, and he has refused.
I've seen things like D-Spirits. I've got that. I like it. That's a great product. That's a great product.
Don't forget your MetaZoo NFTs.
Yeah, I've got those as well. I've got quite a few of those, and went a bit crazy when those first came out. What else have I got? I've got a ton of games, even ones that didn't really make it. And the creators of those have a vision.
Unlike Polywog.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Polywog's it kind of is out there.
All thinking it.
But, these are creative endeavors, and everyone's really passionate about what they do. And I'm not saying that we're better or people should aspire to do what we do, or we're doing things radically different, because everyone thinks that way. We just want to be us and do what we do, and people enjoy it.
I don't think anybody else could do what you're doing, because you guys, your business model is based off of a large number of sales one time a year. That can mainly happen if the owner of the company is already doing pretty well for themselves, because they don't have to have the benefit of a 12 releases a year is you get a monthly salary, right? So like you have to be able to float and be responsible enough with your cash to have it last all year. I do think it's a testament to Eric and yourself that you guys feel confident enough in your budgeting to make it through a year with one release a year.
Yeah, it is challenging. Cash flow. You want to show the balance sheet over, get a bit financial here, but over the period of each quarter to have show linearity and so predictability. That's quite important. But also you have to bear in mind that if you've got a good idea, then there's enough people with seed capital out there to make that idea happen. Sure. I'm sure that there's card games out there which are just waiting to take hold. The next cool thing's going to hit, and we're going to see much more of a pivot into trading card investors. We've seen right now people investing in products. I think that maybe in 2024 we'll see people investing in games and actually being part of that company. That's quite exciting to me.
I think that's true. Eric has always made a very big point of saying he started with the art. Can you walk us through why did he start with the art? Do you know? Like, do you feel comfortable sharing that? Like, why he started with art and then worked backwards from there? It seems like that's different than other TCGs that I know of that started with gameplay and then kind of said, let's go get some art. He started with art, then worked, how can I make something around this kind of unique experience?
Okay. So when Eric started, he was interested in extending the experiences that he had with existing games. And so he went out to acquire new art, to extend on those themes, and to work with the artists. Being an artistic and a creative director at Grinding Gear Games, and his whole background has been artistic. That's the thing that really drives and stimulates him. It's the thing that is the the alpha, the thing that comes first of all.
Right.
Now, I think it would be slightly inaccurate to say that the game was an afterthought, but because what happened is those kind of things like happened at the same time. So the art was being provisioned with a view to game, and there's Sorcery was very different for a period of time, and then he met with Nicholas Reynolds through a common acquaintance, and they sat down and Nicholas showed him the game design that he had, and I think the first thing Eric thought was, this grid actually brings the art to life. You have a snapshot of what's happening. You can people can look on and they can enjoy the art on the playmat because they've got something which it sort of is permanent, which is happening. So you can observe the game state. It's a great showcase for the art, and so using something like that and extending on it really helped build the game out. But in terms of the art coming first, certainly with things like the card design and flavor, it's a contributing factor for sure. When you create a set, sometimes you think to yourself, well, I need to have a card that has this function, and then you can provision art for it. But sometimes something comes back from the artist and you think, actually, that's cool. I didn't think of it like that. That's a different way of actually considering it, and then that features into the design. But you have to understand, this happens with other games as well. We're not unique in that regard, just that we're very transparent about the process and we communicate on it. I'm sure that happens with a lot of different games out there.
What is your biggest hope and your biggest fear for Sorcery?
My biggest
this is therapy time. You can tell us anything here. This is a safe space.
This has been
Carol?
this has been hard. This has been a hard work for all of us. First of all, it's been really hard, heavy lift. You know, when we started on Kickstarter, I think we had 3 or 4 of us, and now we're at 9. My biggest fear, first of all, is the fact that people stop enjoying the game, and they feel like we're not listening to them. That would be having that disconnect from our community is always a fear of mine, and I always try and go the extra mile to engage and to understand. That could be a function of the game not being successful or hyper success as well. Sometimes you become disconnected through commercial reasons and just scale and things like that. So I do fear that. In terms of my biggest hope, I really hope people could feel that this is their game, that they could enjoy it with their friends, and they feel rewarded when they've spent time with the cards, with the people, with the gameplay, and it continues to be rewarding, because it's very hard for people to, certainly people who like to socialize and meet new people. We really hope people can make friends for many, many years and enjoy the game together. That's my hope overall. And I just want to see more cool card sets and the game flourish, take off, and just really get out there. I think what I fear would be that we didn't get our messaging out there widely enough. So we're doing everything we can with our fans to make sure we do deliver on that.
For what it's worth, I think you guys are growing the game the right way. I do like the organic growth. I mean, I think what you said first is, obviously, I think the biggest fear for new TCGs is, they used to be very scared of failing. Now they're scared of failing and overnight success. And so it's now you have to walk this fine line of how do I grow at the right pace. I got one more softball, but I'll let these two bozos go if they have anything else. I can just throw the softball.
Get the real questions out there. Come on, you got an opportunity.
I don't think these were. Listen, I told you this. I'm not a hater. I'm a realist. Unlike GamerGrove.gg over here.
What I guess I know secondary market conversations are hard. What do you think?
Will they hit 1K
for a new player?
And will you say Sorcery to 1K on the podcast?
Can we get the clip for the intro, please?
I want you to know that they wanted me to name this segment Sorcery to 1K, and I said no. I said, but we'll do Simon to 1K.
Oh, I'm sorry. We believe in consistency here, which also sounds like a core value of Sorcery, Louis.
My question is, and I think this doesn't need to happen until beta. I think people who think prices need to be accessible to new players with alpha, it's whatever. But when beta is out and products in hands of consumers, a new customer coming in and wanting to get involved, what do you think an appropriate cost for a deck should be to be involved in the game and to sit down and play? What do you envision? What do you think is the goal of a cost of a deck to play?
the cost should be like a friendship. It should be people who've got the cards who let you have them to play with them. That's really what it is. Obviously, people will pay money for it, but we want our fans to be able to have decks that they can share with people. Now, when designing the game itself, we created some starter decks, pre-con decks. We have 4 of those, and I know that a couple of you guys have got those. There we go, and they're proven to be very successful, but maybe not for the right reason, because they've become collectible, and really that should be what we call accessible, so people can get started there. Those decks have a tremendous amount of gameplay built in, and what we're seeing from the content right now is people just using those decks and having a fantastic time. Our team quite recently did one video. We're doing some more videos, like our internal play videos, where we showcase the game. People can see the thematic moments, the fun that people can have with those. And if people want to enjoy Sorcery on those terms, just with the pre-con decks, go ahead, because you've got months, if not years, of gameplay built in. It's what happens next. Do I really want to spend my time and money to take this further? And we feel that with an excellent looking product that feels right and has great gameplay and replay value, then people will gravitate towards that. And again, it becomes something which is more measured rather than this hype cycle of people needing to have booster boxes to feed that cycle. That's really where we're at. In beta, the pre-con decks have probably been tuned to a level where the collectability aspect of it isn't quite as high, because we don't want the same thing to happen again. But we're introducing new avatars with that as well, which is a refinement of what we had previously, so that for existing fans there is a great reason to pick those up. So they may already have some of the cards already, so what can they do? Well, they can share it with a family member or a friend, and they can enjoy it too. So we kind of thought about that a little bit.
Yeah. So your answer then is like the pre-con deck is that intro product after your friend shares something for you.
I mean, that's why I played with Mike from Mean Mugging, and like that. I had an ice cold chicken finger here to say how much I like the game.
Are you gonna do that again anytime soon? Are we getting there yet, or not quite?
That was such a bad decision. It was so cold, and it was like so dry. Unlike Cane's, which is delicious. This podcast should be sponsored by Cane's Chicken. You guys have Cane's Chicken?
I don't eat meat, so I don't know. Sorry.
Oh,
well,
man. That's sad.
It's a terrible decision.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you guys don't have Cane's Chicken out by you, do you, Louis?
No. We have Chick-fil-A.
Yeah,
we have that. Yeah.
I had some chicken place that I hadn't had before. I don't remember what it was called. It was.
Are you a vegetarian, Simon?
I'm not going to go into that, because people. It's me. I'm a vegan, but yeah, it's like
Okay.
But yeah, number of years.
I didn't know that.
I enjoy
That's
it. It's commitment.
That's a scoopy. That's a scoopy. That is
If
not
people
public.
really want to know that, then great. But it's well, it's what I believe. I love animals, and it's I just lost the taste for it. I used to eat meat all the time, but just lost taste for it. Anyway,
Really?
Simon, if we stuck to what people wanted to know on this podcast, there'd be like 20 minutes of content.
Yeah.
Okay?
It would just be Tay. It would just be Tay.
You gotta understand. We gotta reach deep sometimes.
I need to learn how to not like the taste of cookie dough.
Cookie dough. Yeah.
That would be great. Yeah.
So what I want to know, obviously, you
Okay.
guys have spoken about Sorcery for many weeks, months, and years. What is your current impression of it? How do you feel about what you know about Sorcery today? I'm not going to ask Louis that question, because I think we're all very
To
hyper.
the moon.
No, that's not my impression.
Say Sorcery to 1K. Say it.
baby.
Say it.
It's
Just
not
say
my
it.
attitude.
We'd all drop it if you just said it.
This is why other content creators call me a crypto bro, because of you, George.
Oh, that's actually a perfect. That's
Is that
actually
true?
a
Do people call
perfect
you a crypto,
analogy.
bro? That's awesome.
So I ate my ice cold chicken finger to prove how much I was wrong about the gameplay. I was very public that I was very concerned that people were not playing the game, and might be a reason for that. Shout out to Mike for basically not quite holding a gun to my head, but like something akin to it at the Cryptic tournament, and having me play, because I'm a big board game fan. I don't like TCGs. I do not like TCGs basically
Great
at all.
podcast to be on, but carry on.
Yeah, well, like I did not ask to be on this.
So
I was,
He tried for 20 minutes of this podcast to get us to change into a Taylor Swift podcast. So.
and I will try again next week. I want to make that very clear here. Did you know that Taylor Swift's tour made as much as WotC did last year, Simon?
No, I didn't.
Now you do.
Did you care?
You know, Reading Rainbow. So I think the gameplay is really good. My fear for the game, and I've been public about this, has always been are these, there's going to be a correction in pricing. There has to be. We've seen this in every new hot TCG. And when that happens, how will the community react? One. And also, listen, I am somebody who's very anxious about the one set a year, because TCGs now live not based on gameplay, but based on focus. Are players talking about it? Are content creators talking about it? Are people constantly engaging in it?
Yeah.
And I don't know how that looks at week 30 after release.
I think when you look at the secondary market, I will address that, but I'm not going to talk specifically about it.
Sure.
It's unhealthy for us to indulge in any kind of interaction there. It's its own organic thing. I will say, however, that we see this cycle over and over again with any product, even from the largest manufacturers, that this cycle happens. It's our duty and responsibility to make sure that at the end of the day that the product that people have is excellent, and they continue to enjoy it. And that's what, as a producer, we have done, we feel, and we will continue to do. So we see what happens. I would counsel people that we're going to be around for a while. So don't rush anything. We do feel for people's own personal financial circumstances, and not everyone's created equal. So, obviously spend responsibly. We've always said that. We don't really want people getting underwater and this type of stuff. At the end of the day,
are you taking notes?
It is a trading card game. That's what it is. It's not an investment. It's not a stock or a bond or anything like that. It's not probably not your retirement. The things which have yielded those types of returns.
Louis is sobbing.
Crushed my dreams, crushed Louis' dreams. George, you're next.
George, the difference between you and I is I grew up with Pokemon telling me I have to collect them all. And so everything in my life, I have every...
Why didn't you listen at the time? They told you, and you didn't.
I have every Star Wars Kenner action figure. Not because I'm going to retire on them, but because stupid Pokemon made me collect them all.
I do want to hear your response to the attention focus, but I also want to say that I do give you guys a lot of credit for this. A lot of games have said what you just said and then acted in the exact opposite fashion, where they're like, I won't engage in secondary markets, but WotC, we're coming for your house. We're going to the moon. They're like Louis, but in card game form. You guys have actually said, secondary markets, I'm not going to discuss it. I'm not going to interact with it. Whatever they do is up to them. And I think you guys deserve a lot of credit for that, for actually holding true to that plague.
We appreciate people's interaction in it for sure. And it's exciting, fun. And my own background is that I've participated in that behavior in the past, and I see it for what it is. But we have to hold ourselves to a really high standard here. It's so important for the people who believe in us and engage in that we understand it, but we don't acknowledge or interact with it.
So, can you address the attention economy a little bit here? Like, how do you guys what do you see Louis' videos like on week 30 after release?
Content creators will chase the news anyway. So why would we chase them? Are we just creating things to feed that? We've never really we kind of want to be the sort of like the side game, maybe, that people can always come back to. It's always there. It's always fun. And that's really healthy for us. We're not going to be, maybe we may be the game that people would mostly want to enjoy, and that's fine too. But let's not try and, take that position initially. Let's just see what happens. Do we need to feed a cycle of news? Well, no, because other games pay a lot of money for promotion, for marketing, for partnerships and things like that. We can't compete on those terms. And so what we're forced to do is to create something which is unhealthy for the company, to have a sort of a news cycle which is not really sustainable, and we'll just burn ourselves out. So we just have to stick to our guns, understand what we are as an organization, how we deliver, and do that to the best of our ability.
Let me push back for a second here. So let's say we've gone 40 weeks without a release, and now you need to kind of re-engage members of the community who have fallen off. Is that something you guys have thought about? Is that something you guys have discussed? Can you give us a little scoopy? What's the, because listen, you'll have less players on week 40 than you do on week 1.
Yes. But then if you look at other games out there, if you look at other games out there, I think you guys are on record as saying that the behavior now is that people elect to buy a product from a game according to what their needs are, rather than to collect absolutely everything.
Yeah.
And so we're really no different in that regard. If we go next year and we have a product which people love and excited about, we've proven that this works at scale, because people are very, very excited about Sorcery. Next year we need to do that same work, and that keeps us honest. It keeps us doing the hard work to create excellent products. And once people have experienced the game, we want to try and extend that. But it is an experiment. Well, it's new ground, but we just really feel that we've got something good going on, and we'll wait and see. Our hope is, however, that we can continue to grow as an organization, which gives you more exposure, and also to be able to maybe change the cycle midway through with some auxiliary product potentially, to keep things very fresh and give new experiences.
How does set size factor into that one set? Like how does that factor in, do you think?
Yeah, that's a good question, because Arthurian Legends isn't as large a set. No, it's not really feasible. When you've got something which is strongly themed like that, what happens is that you have the game, the alpha game, and suddenly everything else is like Knights of the Round Table and stuff. And it's like, well, no, that's moving away. So it is going to be a smaller set. But in future, our sets are going to be all different sizes. We have, I think, the next 3 set beyond Arthurian Legends. We've discussed 3 sets and the kind of archetypes and things we want to try and do, and they'll all be different sizes anyway. So it's really about developing the product that people really enjoy. And once we do it and try it, and if it works, fantastic. And if it doesn't, we can make adjustments in the future. We're going to be around for a while.
Can you give us any hint as to how much smaller Arthurian Legends is? Is that at all public, or is that like, do you have any sense?
I think that may be premature when we're still potentially looking at cards, archetypes, and things like that. I don't want to.
I tried, Louis. I tried to use that Scoopy.
Yeah, but the answer's no at this stage. It's premature.
To ask it.
Are any other Scoopies you want to tell us here? Like, any other secret information that's not been public yet? Like, this is a safe space.
I think it's Josh's turn to answer.
The answer. All right, Josh. What Scoopies do they have?
Quiet. He's been quiet the whole time.
No, I'm with you, Josh. Give me a Scoopy.
I can tell you exactly what the next Sorcery set's going to be. Simon and I are best friends off this podcast, and I know everything. Listen, that's why I'm buying
all the ideas for it anyway. So
that's why I'm buying every single shark that I could ever get my hands on. No, you asked about our
really
experience.
Hope it's true now. I really hope shark is like enormous in the Arthurian Legends meta.
That ends up being true. That's going to be hilarious.
Yeah.
That's going to be hilarious. I'm excited to experience Sorcery in a way that I haven't traditionally experienced any other trading card game. I've been bitten by the wonderful foiling, the beautiful art. Like I said, I'm buying every shark I can get my hands on. And I'm not going to be a guy who collects a set. I am the 70% collector human being where I'm like, I'm going to collect this whole set, and then 70% of the way through something else is shiny. But the way I've experienced every TCG is I play them. I'm going to get offline right now. I'm going to grind Magic Online during the Mythic Reward Pass. I'm going to play at my local game store. I'm going to deck tech with my friends. Stuff like that's exciting to me. I'm excited to approach Sorcery in a way that I think it truly shines in this beautiful art, wonderful treatment. Things are special. I'm excited for that. What I'm curious about is knowing myself and knowing my attention span, how your guys' release cadence and your plan that you've outlined here for us is going to work for me. And I'm not going to force it. I'm going to let it happen organically. If it catches my attention, I'm excited to get in and go after it. And if it doesn't, I'm excited to say, like we've talked about, maybe this isn't for me. So I think I'm a great test subject for myself with how this is going to work. And I truly can't wait. I want some beta. I want to know what's in it. So that's kind of how I'm feeling about Sorcery right now.
Very good. That's really where we're at. It's like we can't control what people, how they use their time and how they enjoy a product. And the scale of trading card games has increased so incredibly over the last 5 years, is that we kind of need to know our position and just execute on that really well. That's what success looks like. Us trying to do things on other people's terms and trying to force it would just unravel. So we're not willing to do that at all. And I think our existing fans certainly don't expect that from us, because we were declarative about this from Kickstarter. We said that this is the way we're going to do things, and 6,000 plus people believed in that, and they're happy to support us.
Yeah, and I'm a firm believer that for all these things to succeed, for your community to be healthy and grow, you need a spectrum. No one person is 100% player. No one person is 100% collector. I'm happy to fill my end of that spectrum for Sorcery. I'm excited.
Any of you guys going to be at Gen Con this year?
Not me. Not this
The
year.
kids, man. The
Yeah.
kids.
Lord,
The kids.
9
make it
month old.
hard.
So we're kind of looking forward to that. That's really one of our first events. We sold out of our events pretty quickly there. And this is where we really become face-to-face with our community. So we're incredibly excited about that. Meeting people, seeing how they enjoy the game, and hopefully just record stuff and share it with the wider community as well. That's important to us. People always say, well, are you going to this convention or that convention? The answer is, well, we want to do it the right way. And we're so new. But obviously the Kickstarter was last year, but in terms of us understanding our customer base and how they feel about the product, we just really want to listen to folks and make sure that we really understand how they enjoy the game.
Yeah.
How many sharks will be at Gen Con? So if there's enough, I'll be there to buy them.
What
I'll
is
see if I can fish one out for you.
It's gonna be Katy Perry and the
Buying them
Baby
all.
Sharks.
Is
I'm
that
buying
why
them
you
all.
like the sharks because of the Katy Perry left shark?
No,
he
I
likes
like
it 'cause
the
of his
shark.
kid.
My kid is enamored by the Baby Shark song, and it was playing the same night that Louis had a box opening that was being a supportive friend, and I saw it and I fell in love. I had to have it. Yeah.
The marketing you never knew you needed, Simon.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
There it is.
listen,
Even that song has helped us. That's amazing.
listen, whatever it is.
God, the Katy Perry left shark would be a heck of a secret hit, though. That's a good.
That's-
It could be the altar.
that's
for
the little-
the in between sets. It could be Katy Perry themed
You guys could do different
sorcery
artists.
cards.
I need
Beatles.
two.
Taylor Swift.
Tay-Tay.
I need two, and I need to put George's face on the one that would be left shark. This is a little bit off. It doesn't quite get it. I'll just paste George's face right on there.
Oh man.
my God.
Awesome. Well, guys, I got to thank you for your continued coverage and support. Really, I see the show as entertainment. When you talk about things, it's great to hear your perspectives and things like
I
that.
thought we were high quality information.
It is entertainment. Let's
Listen,
face
we're
it.
doing this wrong.
We're like
I think-
inside the NBA. We don't know anything about sports, but we love talking about it.
And
Dibs on check.
that's how everybody who listens to the show interacts with it as well. People, you're just like the people who listen to the show, so that's why you guys are successful. I've listened to every single and watched now every single one. So keep up the
Did
good
anyone else catch that he called us successful? You don't have to lie to our face. It's fine. It's fine.
But he also said that we're successful with other people like us. In turn, I'm not sure that success, but we're all together. So that's
We're all
Yeah.
together. We're all
Yeah.
eating cookies.
I didn't really mean disrespect with that, but
no, it was taken and it was love. Disrespect is a form of love.
Absolutely. Do you have a favorite card in Sorcery? Do you have a card that like I love it so much?
yes.
Is it shark?
No, it's not. It's a Devil's Egg. It's one of the first ones that I saw.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it made me think about the kind of things you could do with the card and how it would change the game and how people would react to it. Because what it does, it removes life from the site that it's on, and so you carry it into your opponent's territory, and then it becomes a control type issue, and it's the looming threat that you have to take care of this, and so you're on a timer. That's why I loved it, and I was lucky enough to Brian Smith was selling the art, and I approached him when it was on the open market, and I managed to acquire it. So I have that as well, and I love it. So that for me is certainly my favorite. I have others which I love, like Apprentice Wizard and Grandmaster Wizard, just because the art's fantastic, and I'm a big fan of our Philosopher's Stone, as many other people as well.
Sure.
The sorcery art market is the most intimidating thing. I don't know if I should say this on the podcast, but as somebody who doesn't do art, fancy art, I don't know if you guys know this, but like I'm not fancy. It's incredibly intimidating. I feel the way I first felt when I first like held a magic card and was like, oh, this is bigger than me. That's how I feel with sorcery and art, where it's like I'm not there yet. I don't know how to,
You know the magic card, you're like, I can't understand.
like when
I
I held
can-
magic.
Well, you just had a great insight into Louis. This is therapy session.
I can't fathom the depth of importance this will have.
What All right, Louis, what card did you hold that was way bigger than you in Magic?
Like the prices and
Juggernaut.
like the way that other people were spending money on Magic. I was like, how do you do that? Like, how do you buy a $7 card for your deck? You need 4 of them. And now it's like, now it's different for me. But that's how I look at art now. So
this is the perennial issue, because I have the same issue with friends and family when I talk about trading card games, and they say, "Oh, I want to get some of your game," and I say, "Well, it's not widely available. You have to wait to the beta." And they look at the prices and go, "What is this?" And they don't really understand what it is. In terms of art, however, one thing with the creating the foil versions of the cards, we do want to give people the option to collect art on the back of them. They have a version of that which is very easily displayable, collectible, that they can have as well. And I agree, any kind of interaction with art and artists, there's a lot going on. There's what do they call it, the Dunning-Kruger curve. When you first see it, you think, I've got this, but the more you get into it, the more you understand that it is very nuanced. There's a tremendous amount of people, money interacting with that as well, so you kind of have to just learn it over time. It's not something you switch a light switch on and think I'm an expert now. It's a commitment that you learn over a long period.
Louis will never feel like an expert in it, so you're safe there.
You just hurt his brain.
Feel like an expert in anything if it helps.
Can I ask about your piece behind you, George? Because everyone has really kind of noticed
it's a bunch of gum.
Bubble gum.
Get out of here. It's
He's done with this gum. He just does.
Every episode, new piece.
Yeah.
Friends.
That's all of his enemies from the comment section.
I'll show my. That's right. I'll show my other art someday. But this is from an artist in Charleston. It's obviously an abstract art. I don't know. I have a friend who's a friend of his.
Why do you have it? Why do you display it?
I like it. I like abstract art.
Simon. His wife put that on his wall.
But no, hold it. Isn't that the answer?
Hold on.
The answer.
Hold on.
The answer for art is I like it. That's what we've just spent the last 10 minutes talking about. That's a fantastic answer.
Yeah.
I have a painting of a stormy sea with a wrecked boat on a beach out in my basement over there, and I bought it when I thought I was fancy for 25 cents at a garage sale.
Look at that.
I didn't realize we were making political statements on the podcast now. What are you doing? He can't hear us. This is great content.
This happens every week.
This is great. He knows.
I'm good friends with a couple of the street artists in LA, and one of them did that piece for me. It was during the beginning of COVID.
And he made me friends with a couple of the street artists in LA.
That's where he lives.
You're the most interesting man in the world. Do you drink? What is that? Dos Equis?
No, I don't drink. I drink 15 gallons of Diet Coke and 30 gallons of coffee a day.
I have talked to George on the phone every day for the last.
That's not true. The last 3 weeks.
3 years. You've never once mentioned anybody from LA.
Hey, that's not true. I have a 40th birthday party for my friend tomorrow in LA.
Are you going?
No,
I am going.
Oh, you are. Okay.
I have to go. I am convinced this summer I will never spend 3 days consecutively in my bed. This is the summer from hell for me. I was in Boston, New York, Chicago, DC, Orlando, going to LA. I think I have a trip to Seattle. I have to go back to Florida. Then I have to go back to Boston and back to DC. Oh, and then back to Chicago.
You're doing stuff. It's exciting.
I'm doing something. Something. Not sure what I'm doing.
Embrace it. But going back to your art piece, you have a story about it. You have an affinity. It means more to you than just the physical representation. And when we look at sorcery, just to bring it back to that subject, when people interact with the cards, it has a feeling that people invoke. The trading cards themselves have abilities, and that becomes also mixed in the DNA with the art as well. So having very high quality art from some of the luminaries in the field, in addition to the card game itself, really ties that together. I mean, this is why art's so important with this type of projects, and in many other games as well. We focus on hand illustrated art. Some have tremendously talented digital artists who create these experiences as well. So all this media is very, very valid. But at the end of the day, it has to mean something to the consumer, to the person who enjoys it. And if we can achieve that at scale with our game, then we're doing really, really well.
By the next time Simon's on the podcast, I'm going to have a piece of sorcery art.
The next time? I thought you said this was it, one and done.
by the next time Simon's on.
Did that hurt, Louis, having someone get us back on track properly? Did that like sting a little bit in here?
How easy it was for Simon was ridiculous.
He's good at his job, dude.
Well, he's good. He's not a journalistic genius like Josh is, but it's close.
Not everyone can be.
That's yeah.
Let's just dive on.
Louis.
Okay, let's
Segue, Louis. You really nailed it, buddy. You really nailed that segue, bud.
I was trying to think of what the next topic on the podcast is, but I can't remember. So we'll just be like, all right.
What wasn't it, Lorcana? Oh, that's a great question. Lorcana. You guys you excited for Lorcana? You personally? Simon.
You can say no. It'll hurt.
Yeah, it's fine.
Which will be
No, it's fine. It's not a question. I've never really wanted to collect Disney characters in a card game before.
Heard all three of us in the close. Let's
I'm
go.
not hurt. I also don't like Disney.
I think that people love it and enjoy it, and that's the IP that they really enjoy. But before Lorcana, I'd never really anticipated that happening. Like Star Wars. Not really. People expect like Star Wars and things like that, but Disney's kind of wide with a whole. It's not like just one thing, and so I think it would be probably more people wouldn't have expected it. Now, if they can execute on it really well and it feels great and it's cohesive in the Disney universe, the sky's the limit for a game like that.
Yeah, because
it crosses so many boundaries between parents, children, fans. It's an evergreen IP that people continue, and the scale of it is tremendous as well. So I have every confidence it's going to be a very, very popular game. But me personally, like, I didn't ever really want to have a trading card with Mickey Mouse on it. It's just that it didn't really have a thing for me. I didn't want to go into battle with Pluto. That's just the way I feel about these things.
What about Lion King?
Yeah.
Similar. Having Simba attack.
Non-Elton John fan?
I like Elton John, actually, yes.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
Can you feel the love tonight?
But that's a stretch, from that to a trading card game.
Welcome to the podcast,
John, as a card in Lorcana.
What I really want is I would love to have either a heavy metal or classic rock card game where you have the people from those bands fight it out. That would be awesome. If they could do something like that, I'm all over it. That would be fantastic.
Talk to Eric. Maybe there's room.
I think we got our hands pretty full of
Sorcery universe is beyond
after our 30
Sorcery universe is beyond
rock and roll legends.
We could go,
Metallica mini sets
to Melody or something like that, and then we're gonna have the musical version of it. But there's so much people can do with this medium, and we've seen with board games. I'm sure there's a lot of disruption going to happen in trading card games very soon. So as people bring new experiences, IPs, we've already seen like 40k permeate into Magic and Lord of the Rings for sure. So exciting times ahead that people get to experience the IPs and the things that they really love in trading card game form.
And that's a great segue into the Lorcana section of the podcast, which happens.
Wow.
Now.
Wow. What a great segue, Louis.
Simon, thank you so much for being here, my friend. Appreciate you. And,
thank you.
We'll clean up the podcast after this and we can keep hanging out. This is awkward. Cool. That was a great interview with Simon. Let's talk about the Lorcana.
Awesome. The things we do so you can be lazy in editing is stunning.
Let's talk about the Lorcana lawsuit.
Yeah, they brought the heat.
They banged the gavel.
Ravensburger basically said, like, this is a frivolous lawsuit, and like you did not have non-competes that you said you did, and like I'll see you punks in court if you want to go.
Where did they do that? What was the was it publicly? What was the?
It was in a filing. It was filing in court. Like, they brought the heat. This was a much stronger stance than I expected.
They had some Disney lawyers behind them.
I have no idea. I hope so. Shout out to Bob Iger today, getting a 2-year extension on his contract. The GOAT stays in place.
Is that the CEO of Disney?
Wow.
No clue who that is.
What's wrong with you guys?
We're not old. We don't care about
I'm
Disney.
sorry. I'm sorry. You're going to answer my question? Is that the CEO of Disney?
Of course.
This is an awful way to find out that my resume was rejected. Great.
Well, he was already CEO. He's got an extension.
Wasn't going to be for long.
What are your qualifications to be a CEO of Disney? I want to hear your
failed YouTube content creator.
Failing. I failed. Failing.
Doesn't know when to give up.
Journalistic genius. Okay,
Nailed
we've
it. I'm in.
established this.
Watch out, Bob. Watch out, Bob.
There's precedent here. Okay. Have you seen my shelves? They're super colorful. Disney super colorful. I'm in.
So here's my question for you guys. I bought Bob Iger's book when he retired. Do you think I should get a refund now that he's back? Because like he has to write another one now.
Well, I think he should just fulfill his retirement and let me step in and take my rightful place as king.
All right. So
I want you to know I'd have a big tax event if I sold my Disney, but that would probably do it. that would probably do it. I'd probably just suck up and pay the taxes.
so
That would probably do it.
this means we're not
I'd be
having
the lead actor in every movie.
Bingo! Bingo! You can call me Ryan Reynolds. Josh, you're fat. I'm a fat Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, if I had CEO money, I'd be so much fatter. There would be no cup soup for lunch. Are you kidding me?
Fat like that. They have the work. They have like they're all on Ozempic now.
But I would go the opposite way.
You just be like, you just want to get a deep dish eat fest.
100%. If I can afford it, yeah.
All those rich skinny people have personal trainers that like make them train, and then they have personal cooks that make them food. If I had a personal trainer and a cook, I would be in such good shape. It would be unbelievable.
Nobody. Here's the question.
You would have them make
everything I eat,
cats and homemade cookie dough every day.
Everything I eat is
Damn
because
you,
I'm
George.
lazy. Everything I eat is because I'm lazy.
That's not true. I've been on the
why
phone
I
with
eat
you.
cookie dough? Because I don't have time to wait for baked cookies.
You go out to the store late at night to seek out cookie dough when I know darn well there's food in that house.
I have been on the phone with you when you're like, should I eat the salad? No, I'll walk to Sheets and get a Kit Kat.
Oh, but if you walk, that's fine. You burned off the Kit Kat on the way there.
I think it's like 5 feet away.
I might share a backyard with Sheets.
But do you walk around the block or do you walk across the backyard?
I know that answer. If you need to phone a friend, Josh, I got your back. I need Bob Iger to do Jeopardy to have this answer.
Okay, so Lorcana's not getting delayed, which is great.
That would surprise me at this point.
We're supposed to get allocation this week.
Tomorrow. Today.
It's today.
Today.
Podcast day.
Whoa, today. I guess it is midnight, so it's technically today.
Gosh, I want to point out how well this is working out, by the way. That we're going to be done recording the podcast.
Because we did half hour of bullshit, so we could waste your time waiting for your friend to show up.
We did that.
That's true. I did carry it. That's a good point. Thank you, Louie.
George, what are your predictions on Lorcana 2 weeks after release? Price.
No idea. I have no.
That's why it's a prediction.
I have no idea what allocations are. What a wild. I have no clue.
You've already bombed the Commander Masters prediction.
No,
you botched the sorcery. You botched the sorcery prediction.
Can
just
we wait till they finish shipping boxes before the victory flag comes out?
Just lose this one too.
No way. I got. I will. So the big rumor has been they might not let you sell it online.
How are they going to prevent that from happening?
Well, I mean,
you're gonna like eBay. You're not allowed to accept it.
No, but I mean, if stores have to do weird things, it can get wild.
They can't control.
I like that.
I like it too, but they're not going to be able to control.
Oh my god, it's just going to embrace the indie TCG lore. It's just going to be Discord servers with people full of selling crap. It's just another indie TCG. Yeah. What is happening to my life?
Why would they?
Going on?
A good thing. I have an idea. Let's go back to when Disney was popular and make the internet not be there, and we won't sell boxes online.
Hold on. Are you of the opinion that Disney's not popular? Because we have child music playing in our house all day long.
I just like pissing you guys off and getting comments on the comment section.
Everything is Disney. Everything.
Yeah, that's fair. I will tell you this: people are super excited for Lorcana.
Of course they are.
Everybody asked me about it.
Of course,
Magic players, Pokemon players, people with kids, people without kids. It's crazy.
Those are the 4 groups.
I think there's a lot of
Magic players, Pokemon players, people with kids, people without kids.
I think hardcore indie TCG enthusiasts are going through a struggle with Lorcana.
Of course.
There's a lot of nobody's gonna buy Lorcana.
I love it.
It's a cash grab. And then the common answer.
Yeah, Disney needs your TCG money.
I don't see this. I don't see
very
this
popular
as an
Discord.
indie TCG. You see this as an indie TCG?
No.
I'm saying indie TCG communities are struggling with Lorcana release. They're not like, oh yes, of course it's going to be a success. There's a lot of coping going on there with some popular phrasing.
I'm not in those communities. My TCG communities
That's true.
are excited for Lorcana.
That's because your community is a Magic community. This is a Magic the Gathering podcast.
I don't know if that's true. Like my Discord server is pretty excited for Lorcana. No one's like fudding it up in there.
Oh, well, you got to get back in your Discord server.
Really?
You have to log on once a month.
George, yeah, we need someone in there to FUD, and that's
the problem is George is in there talking about it going to the moon all the time. So someone's got to.
I have not.
Oh, but you won't predict a price. But you won't predict a price to the moon, but not a price. I also won't predict a price. So
I don't know what allocations are. Like, how would I possibly guess the price? Like, what would this guess be based off of?
It's gonna double and then half.
What are the rest of your guesses based off?
We knew rough print runs.
You didn't know your allocations for Commander Master.
Hold on. How many boxes of Lorcana are they printing, George?
All right.
1K.
All right. Last thing to talk about.
They're going to be $10 million a box.
Last thing to talk about. We'll be brief here. The MetaZoo set, the next set was supposed to be War, which was supposed to be the culmination of everything.
Supposed to be the final set, the big war.
The final set of this block before they go to non-American cryptids.
What? Cryptids.
But they delayed War.
Well, that's because they need to get the final Bucky's the Beaver. And
they're adding a new set called Legacy. Legacy? Is that accurate? I think that's accurate. And Legacy, I'm going to read the actual announcement so I don't screw it up. Yeah, Legacy is a love letter to the entirety of MetaZoo Cryptic Nation. Expect to find all the Cryptic Nation, Nightfall, Wilderness, UFO, Sands, Native, and War versions of many of your favorite beasties in it. Alongside of those and many new and previously unreleased older cards will make debut appearances. So it looks like a reprint plus new cards.
Did you say and War?
Oh, I read whatever they said.
So wait, this is all the old sets and War, which won't be out when it comes out.
According to the announcement, that's what it says.
Well, wait, is Legacy coming out before War now?
Yes, yeah.
That's what he just said. Welcome to the pod.
It's Louis. I don't know. Really?
Yep. So I, for one, am excited to have. I'm gonna steal your joke, George. I, for one, am excited to have more of the CN2 cards that I don't have enough of. That's what George said on the phone today. It was glorious. It was funny.
Why are we reprints? I like. Oh, it's draftable.
It's called sarcasm, Josh. Sarcasm.
No, I'm not doing this to you. Someone's excited for the reprints.
No one's. Listen, this is.
I mean, here's this is what we don't know yet. Like, what percent are going to be new cards? What percent going to be old cards? Reprints? What percent is going to be like special treatments? All those things all matter for what the product will look like.
Yeah, so I know that there are some people who are excited about this, and that's great.
Yeah.
I think I want to speculate on why War was coming.
I'm in a speculation.
So I've seen a couple people talking about this, that the online client wasn't ready yet, and War was supposed to be the release of the online client. And so because the online client isn't ready yet, they had to delay the release of War. That's been a lot.
Is that true, you think?
This is why it's called speculation. If I knew it was true, then I would just read you the announcement. I would say this is an announcement, not speculation. But that's been the speculation, is because the online client's not ready and they wanted to include the online client in the War, they delayed the set.
No idea.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I think Legacy aspects would be cool. I do like the idea of like a final Mothman, like a final version Mothman, like some rare foiling. That'd be pretty dope. Will Mothman go to the different islands after this or no?
I don't know. I doubt it.
Wow, the end of Mothman, really?
I mean, Mothman traveling.
If they don't have Uncle Sam in every set, they have failed us.
It's already not in every set. So
every set that's overseas. Like, he's here. We all know he's in our hearts in every set of Cryptid Nation. But like, I want him in every set overseas, USA, all the way.
It'll be interesting to see how a reprint MetaZoo set does. That'll be very interesting. I don't think that it's necessary.
It depends on what's in it.
We just had a discourse for the first like 45 minutes of this podcast about reprint equity and why it's not needed most of the time. I think copy pasta my take here. And
You're super pro it?
no.
Am I understanding this correctly?
Much like Commander Masters. Not getting it.
That'll be interesting.
I wonder if they'll do a different version of like the blue ink and red ink, like it'll be like black ink, purple ink, tie-dye ink. Got it, nailed it. Mike, hit me up. Slide in the DMs. Tie-dye ink it is. God, I would rock a tie-dye ink.
Okay, so
Hawaiian shirt ink. They can have that owl.
Great, everyone. Thank
They
you
can
for
have the
watching.
owl in a Hawaiian shirt with a tie-dye pen.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate you watching. Go
And thank you, Simon, for coming on the podcast.
Go subscribe to Josh's channel.
I thought you were saying go subscribe to Simon. Go subscribe to Simon. Personally.
Ready for it.
Subscribe to Josh's channel and check out his takes and videos. Subscribe to the Sorcery YouTube channel, which is putting out really great content for their game.
We're pumping major companies' YouTube channels. Hey, I'll subscribe to Wizards of the
Water
Coast.
has a great
Wizards of the
column.
Coast and Magic the
Subscribe to Mark
Gathering has a
Rosewater's
great
column.
YouTube channel. You guys should definitely check out. While we're at
Chris
it, Mr.
Cox.
Beast is pretty popular. If
Mr.
you
Beast
haven't
is
checked
good.
out Mr.
I've heard of
Beast,
him.
make sure you check out Mr.
Did
Beast.
you know there was a chance he was going to be on the submarine?
Wasn't that
Oh,
there's skepticism
okay.
about that.
Hold
There's
on. I have
skepticism
something to
about
talk
that.
to you guys about.
Yeah.
I have something to talk to you guys about.
This is
when
the
we
best
do our-
ending of a
when we
podcast
do our
ever.
second. Have you guys heard of Subliminal Land?
Simon, have you? Welcome back.
This is the podcast After Dark. We're talking about liminal land. It's this whole conspiracy theory. It's amazing.
I
Everyone, thank you
love
for
that
watching.
you're
We
on
had the
Conspiracy
people around
Theory podcast.
And we need to do that. And may the zoo be with you.
Thank you.